It's the Movie Toasty Show, here for you. Dennis and Adam joke about orgasms and sweet movie reviews. We talk about TV too, right?
I think so.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah! Movie Toast.
Hey, what is up, Toasties? Welcome to episode 204. I mean, shit.
Yeah.
That is crazy. We're feeling festive. We're getting to the holiday season. A Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and Happy holidays all around to all
Merry
of you fine
Kwanzaa.
folks. Yes,
We're not going to say New Year because we're coming back right before the New Year. So
we'll
fuck
get
that.
one. Yes, we'll get one in
We'll
before
get another
then.
out there.
But
Yeah.
feeling
But
all
speaking of
warm and fuzzy. So
festive, Dennis, we're coming fresh off the 4th annual Movie Toast the Festival, our
Hell yeah.
previous weekend. Oh man, how much fun was that?
that was great. And you know what? I'm glad the filmmakers that turned out had a good time. We are finally getting to hand out the awards to those very deserving winners. It was a very satisfying feeling. And again, I know we've been touting it all year, but it was such an incredible collection of films to share.
It was fun
every single one of them.
watching these things. Yeah. And sharing it with the world finally. We've been keeping it so close to our chest and now putting it into the world as if it's our work. It's not our work, but to share it. It was
Exactly.
great.
Yeah. It's that pride of like, I know these people are so motivated to get their shorts out there for other people to see and just to be a part of getting them to another audience and spreading these things around the world. We had so many entries from all over the place. And it was a lot of fun. It went by like nothing. I thought it was gonna be like, oh man, this is okay. I gotta lock into this thing. This is gonna take a minute. No, next thing I knew, it was already over.
And it was like rediscovering some of these shorts. It's like, oh shit, yeah, I forgot how great that one was, or oh, I forgot about that moment and this, and then seeing what people liked and what they thought was the best, and yeah, just a good time. So thank you if you watched it. And guess what? We're gonna have a 5th season coming up next year. So start getting ready to submit January 1st. Details coming on
Movie Toast
205.
Yeah.
But Dennis, let's stay in the realm of 2024 with a little thing we like to call news.
Gather round, folks, it's time for the scoop. 2 is in, let's join the loop.
I like how you want to keep it in the realm of 2024, and then
it's talking about 2025 shit.
The music is very much of time before.
Oh yeah, I mean, sometimes you got to go classic, Dennis.
Nothing
and
wrong
speaking
with
of classic, Dennis, we're getting a little thing called Malcolm in the Middle returning to Disney Plus. I'm excited for this. I know they've been talking for years about doing it. I never thought it was actually going to happen.
Right. It's one of those, it's like, it's a rumor that gets kicked around for a long time. And you're like, oh, that'd be cool. That'd be cool. And then when you finally got the announcement from 2 of our main cast members.
Three.
They
had James
3 of our main
Merrick,
That's right.
Bryan Cranston, and Frankie.
Is it bad? I forgot about Frankie. I just remembered Jane and
I mean, come on. Lois and Hal are the show. I know it's called Malcolm in the Middle, but Malcolm wouldn't be in the middle if they weren't in one another.
Hey, we get to see that one beautiful man in his briefs for the first time in Malcolm in the Middle. So watch out there, Breaking Bad.
Can you believe it's been 25 years since the first season, man?
That's nuts. Because it's sad when you and I feel like we go back, watch an episode now, and it still seems so relevant and recent. Like it doesn't seem that far out of reach when it's like, no, that's a human drinking age since that's been a thing.
Like watching it live and then watching it back, like when it would be in syndication. Like, honestly, I feel like I want to go back and rewatch it. I always say I'm going to make it back to watch Malcolm in the Middle, but then I never do it because I don't fully remember that final year. Like, I remember how it ended.
Yeah.
But I don't fully they get the new baby.
I gotta confess, everything like any show we go back and rewatch just for fun or have on in the background at home. I never like watching the final season of it because I hate that tone of like bringing it to a close that I feel like a lot of shows usually end up doing. So I'm totally with you. I really can't recall any of Val, and I've probably rewatched it a couple times over the years. And yeah, I couldn't tell you. But hey, why not? I think especially if the cast is motivated and you can bring most, if not all of them back, that's really the best way to do it.
So yeah, essentially for those of you who don't know, it's been quite some time since we've last seen this family, and now it's gonna be, I believe, Hal and Lois's anniversary, and they want Malcolm and his daughter to come back, and 40 years worth of anniversaries, and this dysfunctional family. I don't know. It should be interesting. I hope it's not just about like his daughter being in the middle, but I don't know. It's been so long since even seeing Frankie Muniz on the screen because he's in the race cars these days. But I mean, I feel like I think it's going to be like 8 episodes and all focus on that anniversary and reunion of the family. I can't wait for it, to be honest with you.
Oh, totally. Yeah, me as well. It should be a good time.
And speaking of reuniting families, Dennis, we're going to be reunited with some folks with Meet the Parents. There's talk about a 4th movie happening. And by God, I didn't think this was going to happen because I felt like not a lot of people really saw Little Fuckers. And I believe if it's correct, because I saw a screening of it, I think it's a Christmas movie and I think it's on Prime. So if you're kind of want to recharge, you should check that out.
Dang. Shit. Why did I not remember that part of that? I know I saw it. That's funny. I think most of my memories are of the second one, not the third one. So anyways,
Meet the Fockers. For me, it's always the parents. I was like, I didn't care so much. I felt like they were trying to be too zany with the Fockers. But people love the Fockers. But so right now, De Niro, Stiller, Terry Polo, and Blythe Danner are in early talks to return. And it's going to be written by, of course, I believe it's going to be written by John Hamburg, who wrote the first 3. Oh, and okay. Yeah, so kind of in good hands, I suppose. Yeah, and I think De Niro's going to be producing this. So, I mean, I'm intrigued to see what this is. If it's going to be now the little Fockers are grown up, maybe they're graduating or maybe one of them's getting married. I don't think it's been that long, but time flies.
You're right. It's like at least graduating some grade of school at that point. Yeah, would make sense. Now and especially with Ben Stiller wanting to get back in front of the camera, this is definitely a property that I think everyone can agree the first film is fantastic, and the rest are still like they're fun. They're a fun time. So letting it simmer for this long, hopefully that brings about a really good film for all of us to check out. So
100%.
All right.
Yeah. All right. Up next. All right, here we go. A couple of episodes ago, I reviewed Red One, and like I said, it didn't do so great at the theater. And now it's on Prime, and like I said, I called when I reviewed it. Once this thing hits Prime, it's gonna blow up, and it has done that. All right, so it's only been on Prime since December 12th, and we're currently at December 17th, and it is breaking records. 50 million people worldwide within the first 4 days of being on Prime. And that's only 4 days. It's funny. I saw my mother watched it that day it came out because I'm like, hey, you were asking me about that movie. It's actually coming to Prime. As I was coming out here, I saw my brother watching it. And it's like, I guess that really says what the state is of movie going. People know that they can just wait for it to pop up on a streamer and they'll see it. I don't know if that's a pro or a con, but it's a mixed
bag of things. Yeah. No, it's I saw something on the news the other day with some of my favorite news anchors, and one of them who has 2 young sons was just like, she was making some comment about she doesn't even remember the last time she's been to the movie theater. It's like, oh no, are you kidding me? I would rather be at home with the boy's short attention span between her and her husband. You can at least pause it, get up, do what you need to, come back. And one of the other anchors was like, oh yeah, no, that makes sense. And he's quite a bit older with without young children. It's like, but I'd rather go to have the experience where the movies happen.
Exactly.
So there's at least that split, but yeah, so many people are still favoring that delivery system.
I guess is helpful for us, people like you and me and that news anchor who want to experience it on the big screen, not having assholes go there and being distracted and taking away everyone's attention to the screen. Yeah,
filming fucking TikToks during the fucking movie.
Fuck around all you want because you're not distracting anybody besides yourself.
Yeah.
If that's the case, perfect. Do that.
Yep.
Why not? Yeah. So I don't know. I know it's not much of a news story, but it's just insane to think in 4 days, 50 million people breaking
huge numbers. Huge numbers.
So yeah, I wonder now if we'll see a like I said, it looked like they wanted to set up a universe. Yeah. Will we see more holiday mishaps?
Mrs. Claus got kidnapped. Oh no.
Oh shit. Get Bonnie Hunt back.
We need a super jacked JK. You need to get back in the gym.
JK Santa. He's Liam Neeson. Oh, dude, that'd be so perfect. You got The Rock and Chris Evans and Lucy Liu and the Polar Bear are out doing their own mission. So now Santa has to go and get back his wife. And he has a very specific set of skills. Oh, man, I would watch the fuck out of that movie, man. Although I guess that's kind of like a Violent Night. But
or no, you parallel it. Now you start bringing in other holidays. So now it's like the Easter Bunny has been taken away to fucking Neverland.
Yeah.
And Santa Claus is
I fucking watch it.
I don't know.
Make that, Prime. Make that. Throw your fucking money at that shit, man. You'll see 50 million more within 4 days, I bet.
4 hours. Boom. It's a 5-hour movie, so I don't know how they did it, but
they blew minds, man. They blew minds. But speaking of flying objects, Dennis, it's not only Santa's sleigh that flies once again. There's word that we're getting a new Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
All right.
Ooh, the world was waiting for this one.
I'm excited and concerned at the same time. I love the original, but
Guess who's producing this movie, Dennis? This is coming from Amazon and MGM, so this is another one that can be viewed at home.
Okay.
I don't know, but the producers, this is where it really gets me. I'm kind of intrigued by it. It's Barbara Broccoli and Michael Wilson, the people who own the rights to the 007 movies. Because I didn't realize that Chitty Chitty Bang Bang was based on an Ian Fleming novel. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
I
mean, it's
so. I mean, yeah, World War whatever. I mean,
it makes sense. It is.
I want to see that be an action-packed badass. Think about what they could do. Yeah. But who can fill the shoes of a Dick Van Dyke?
That's my thing. You need to be such a showman. That oh my god, no, it's gonna be fucking. I was like, you need someone who could sing, dance. Oh. Okay.
Oh,
I could see that. No.
You were going to. You had something.
You can see that. I was just in the Stuntman movie, La La Land. Why can I think of?
Yeah, Gosling. Fuck yeah.
At first I was thinking Gosling, but you're right. Hugh Jackman would be even better because I think the father should be a little bit older. Like he needs to have gone through some shit. But oh man, see, no, that's funny. Well, I'm intrigued by your answer, and I like that you're intrigued.
Yeah, we flip flopped on that. And then, like, what little kids are you going to get in there? And like, oh man, think of all the different cameos you can have. Fuck, who knows?
They gotta be.
Dick Van Dyke might still be kicking it. He just made a music video recently, so
if he plays the grandpa, the crazy old grandpa, that's
oh man, he's the one telling the kids back in the day, I took your dad on an adventure.
Yeah. I would love that. Oh my god. Oh man. It's the original film was just so near and dear to my heart, especially just throughout my childhood. It was one of those VHS tapes, probably worn out. But no, that's interesting. They
don't make movies like that anymore.
That's a demanding cast, and that is yeah, exactly. Especially when you said that. There's so many practical sets, there's so many practical effects. I think that's probably one of the things that helped draw me into the filming industry to begin with, between this and Singing in the Rain and things like this, where you had such monumental set pieces that were massive within the frame. Oof.
And just the music numbers and the kind of slapstick comedy and I don't know. Yeah, you just had so much going on with this. It's like, I guess why not? At this point, remakes are being made left and right. At least this isn't like a movie that just came out 5 years ago. This is like, all right, there's a lot of time, and now you can modernize it and see where we're at. I don't know. It could be interesting, I think.
Clearly, it should have the old bamboo in it, but if you don't have Toot Sweets in there, I'll be upset. I like that song.
Man. I can't even recall the last time I saw this movie, so I bet it's on Disney Plus. Right?
It stands out.
Disney
Last
movie?
time I watched it, it was my birthday, and I had to drive out crazy because she can't stand it. But damn it!
Like, do you mean like 2 months ago in October you watched it?
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's wow. Okay, all right.
It's
that's
still
awesome.
it's still an awesome. I still love it.
Good movies. I mean, hey, this time of year, I'm always watching my Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, the Frosties, the fucking Raskin and Banks stuff. Oh, yeah, so I get it.
Nice.
Those
Oh,
are my
yeah.
jam.
There you go.
Oh man.
Oh, stop motion's gorgeous.
Right. Anywho, staying in the realm of Amazon, because Amazon rules with an iron fist the entertainment world. A couple of weeks ago, we were talking about the Tom Clancy universe, and we're like, Michael Jordan, Rainbow Six, what's going on with it? Well, we recently got a little bit more information from the director of it, who has done the John Wick films. He's going to be directing it, and he went on to say that he loves working with Michael B. Jordan, and they're having a blast developing it. It's awesome. It's just great energy. It's a big property, and it comes with big IP. And essentially, it just boils down to the fact that they really want to take their time to get the story right and not just rush it out into the world.
Oh my God, yes.
There's momentum. They're happy. Chad, the director, he can't wait to do it. Michael B. Jordan, and then finding time to do it because Michael B. Jordan is in high demand. But yeah, it's good to hear that they're just like not shitting things out. I think we talked before about the fact that DC is now trying to do that, and that's what these companies should be doing.
Exactly.
Slow and steady can win that race.
Be patient with it and really just make it right instead of it's not a fucking iPhone. I don't need one every year. Turns out it still works fine. If I want to go enjoy it again, I'll watch the last one you made. If it was good, guess what?
Yeah.
Without Remorse was still a great movie. Especially if this is going to be that bridge into bringing Jack Ryan into the fold, which the way their characters work, it's not like they're going to be doing the same thing together, but they would at least meet each other. They would cross paths at some point, exchange information. I could see that. That little tidbit just to kind of coalesce all of the Tom Clancy universe together, especially when there's so many other characters and so many other things you can kind of touch base with, like especially these days. I could easily see NetForce getting brought back into the fold, which is, I know, not as big a Tom Clancy title because that was later on, and he only
but that's the thing, you can set all these up like they don't have to be fully established. We can meet them in this movie and then spin off and do their own thing without having to tell a whole origin story. We're already committed because we've seen them in action and just a brief amount to get us intrigued by it, which is nice.
Exactly. Get us in late, get us out early. Those classic rules still hold up. So no reason to break them now.
Right?
Fuck yeah.
All right. Well, speaking of not rushing things and establishing worlds that everyone knows and loves, Disney apparently is in development on not one, but 2 Pirates of the Caribbean films, believed to be one of them, the Margot Robbie female-led Pirates movie, which we've been hearing about for a while. Where is it, Disney? But there's also talk that there is a script they're developing to bring back Johnny Depp's Captain Jack Sparrow. But there's some tension between Johnny Depp and Disney. And of course, when the whole Amber Heard situation happened, they wanted nothing to do with them after that. And he said some very bad things about them and vice versa. But they're hoping they can mend the wills, and of course a paycheck kind of helps.
Hey, look, and we all want to make millions of dollars.
Exactly. It works for everyone. That revitalized Johnny Depp, put him in the zeitgeist forever, and made Disney a boku amount of money. So why not do it again?
Yeah.
I'm intrigued to see which one pans out or if both. Honestly, I'm cool with the female-led one. I mean, Margot Robbie would be fantastic. But
exactly. If anything, I could see Margot Robbie as a fucking pirate. Like, why
badass?
Not? You know, she could
commanding.
Own it. Yeah, it's not quite Harley Quinn, but that sort of attitude and just the ownership of the space around you like that, and the fearlessness. I 100% could see that, and especially they're going to try to get the two together at some point. Within a story, not like together, but like get them in the same
they could put
movie.
The characters together. I mean, I don't want that forced, but yeah, of course, or merge the franchises together.
Or she could be his kid or something.
Ooh, there we go. His long lost daughter that he knew nothing about. She's been hunting him down for years.
Yeah, right. And she's like, "I'm here to kill you, Dad," and he's good. Like, it's just
finally someone's gonna do it,
right? Man, that'd be interesting. Yeah. Bring it on, Disney. Yeah. Let's see what you got.
And Disney plans on bringing some more news our way, Dennis. They announced a live-action Tangled film. And it's right now there's talks with Michael Gracie, director of The Greatest Showman, and he has a movie coming out right now called Better Man, which is a biopic about Robbie Williams, but he's portrayed as a monkey. So this is a guy who knows musical numbers.
And The Greatest Showman did so well, so that sounds like for sure.
And it's like, I didn't see it, man. I feel like you're being sarcastic, but people loved it.
It did. I feel like for a very
wasn't for me.
Big group, they latched onto it, but then a lot of people were like, "No, I don't want to see Wolverine singing and dancing." Turns out he loves to sing and dance, folks. But
do what you love.
I don't know. It's like Tangled was. I remember seeing this in theaters in 3D. It was really cool. The story was great.
A classic story of Rapunzel.
Yes.
But yeah, we were just on episode 203 talking about why are we getting a Moana movie as you're still making Moana movies? What can you do in live action that you can't do in animation? Normally it's let's make this animated because we can do whatever we want with it.
I remember enjoying Beauty and the Beast. Emma Watson did a great job.
Fantastic.
But it has a pedigree, though. That title had been around for so long. Maybe it's a bias given our age when the film came out. Sure.
I mean, honestly,
but
that's one of my favorite Disney movies. I think that might be my first memory of going to a theater seeing fucking Beauty and the Beast.
I think we talked about this before. I think that's one of mine too. My mom still likes telling me I think I started crying when the initial like the wolves chasing her into the scary.
I bet it's
castle
scary
with
shit.
The lightning
the spooky woods.
You're seeing
and then by the end you're crying because they're killing the beast, trying to kind of murder him.
It's gnarly. Yeah, it's terrifying. But
I guess the same could be said for kids who grew up seeing Tangled as their first movie. For them, it's been eternity. For us, it's been like 8 years or something. But to them, that's a long period of time, I suppose.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess we'll just have to see. I mean, I'm not going to say I'm not going to see it because I am curious how that's going to play out. There's a lot of comedy and that came into it that I really enjoyed. I don't know. Yeah. Well, with this trend, we'll just have to see how it pans out. I still have to go check out Mufasa. So
honestly, I know people are on the fence, but reviews have been coming out from the press. And people are raving about it. I mean, it's no surprise Barry Jenkins is the director, and this guy has directed some pretty intense movies. So,
and didn't
I saw
Miranda do the music for this one too?
Yes, I believe so.
So the songs are going to be killer. So,
and somehow we're still getting some of our modern day cast from the previous one because I think it's a story they're telling to their young children. So, we'll get some of those familiar voices in there, and then some new ones. I'm intrigued. It comes out next week. I can't wait to check it out. But speaking of can't wait to check out, we talked about on the last couple of episodes, we talked about the fact they're making a new American Psycho, and we're like, who will be Patrick Bateman? And now we know that it's going to be Austin Butler.
All right, Elvis. I don't know, man.
Are you going to become a killer in real life because you're doing the role and it takes over?
I'm gonna stab you in my apartment.
Oh man, I don't know what there is to say about this. I just thought it was interesting.
I don't know. Like American
I don't
Psycho
know
is still
too much about him.
an awesome movie. I just
Yeah.
I never read the book that it's based on, from what I recall.
Nor have I.
That's about.
Honestly,
But
I've never fully watched the movie. I'm saying it's awesome. I've
the
seen clips
movie's
and bits and pieces.
fucking
Heard
fantastic.
great things.
It's still gnarly. That intensity. I mean, Christian Bale is just full force in that film, and it's the reason why it stood the test of time this long. I don't know if this is the guy. I mean, but maybe just drop the Elvis voice.
Yeah.
You know,
be a normal dude.
It works for you.
And don't try to do like a Christian Bale voice or anything. Do whatever your voice is.
Exactly.
Oh man,
he was good. I gotta say though, I did like him in that the World War II, the Air Force series he was in. That first season, that was good.
Was that on Apple? Or...
Yes,
it doesn't matter.
Yes, okay. It was.
And he was good in Dune Part 2. I mean, the guy has.
Oh man, yeah, he's definitely got some chops.
Riders. I feel like he
was
Bike Rider.
Yeah, he's one of the main. He's one of the main characters in the Bike Riders. Yeah.
Yeah, he was pretty good in that too. Not the best out of it, but yeah, main character.
All right, let's see how psychotic he can really get. It better be brutal. It's got it. Right. It needs to have that shock value. There needs to be that scene that just like kind of disturbs
Well, with
you.
Luca as the director, I feel like we're gonna have a lot of random shock value here.
Okay.
Like his current movie, Queer, starring Daniel Craig. I've heard so many reviews of like, I don't know what the fuck I was watching. It went over my head. It was so weird and artsy. I don't regret seeing it. I don't know if I would recommend it. And this is what like professionals are saying. And I'm like, I don't know if I want to sit down and see something like that, but I'm so exactly
right.
Yeah.
I hear that. I'm like, okay, now I kind of want
right?
to see it even more.
So, I mean, that's coming out wider release this week or next week, I think. So, yeah, I mean, this guy has style, and the movie, he's done a wide variety of different types of movies. So, hopefully, he has a cool hook that will get people to see American Psycho.
All right.
Anywho, speaking of a movie that I know we'll check out, Dennis, The Mandalorian and Grogu have announced that the Bears' Jeremy Allen White is going to be playing Jabba the Hutt's son, Rada.
Yes.
Whew.
I've heard. Okay.
Now,
so, no, please, before,
I was going to ask if you know much about him, because I believe he's a character in the Clone Wars and I think some other iterations of the Star Wars universe.
Yes, and I originally in the comic books, and then was in there's a story arc, a short like 1 or 2 episode story arc where Rada is kidnapped, and a couple of characters from the Clone Wars have to go bring him back before they realize like who he is, like or who he's related to, and they're given, and it's like Jabba's cousin or something was setting up the kidnapping. It was really, it was a really fucked up inner family.
Dark.
I'm trying to.
I mean, didn't we see some fucked up stuff with his family in Book of Boba Fett?
Yeah,
weren't they kind of feuding and whatnot?
Yeah, they're not. Hutts are very prideful, and they're very like. And what's interesting is, for most people, if you've only watched the movies and you've only seen Jabba the Hutt, he's very old. He's very, very rich. He doesn't need to
apparently
physically work for anything much anymore. So that's why he's so big and sluggish. There are muscular, jacked up Hutts.
Huh.
That's what Rada looks like in the comics and stuff. He's got like an 8-pack. Like he's a beast.
Interesting.
Like, there are Hutts that if you were to go toe to toe, hand to hand combat, they would rock your world. They're not to be trifled with. It's more of a status thing, like an old English king, where like when you start gaining the weight and you start getting to sit back on your throne, not having to do as much.
That's how you have the power and money.
It's more symbolic in that I don't have to do those things anymore. I get to tell all of these people around me to do it for me. And that's where what Jabba has achieved. Rada is going to be that like angry, I'm going to, you took my father's throne or whatever. He's going to have this chip on his shoulder, and he's going to be young enough that he's going to be fucking some shit up. But that's something we've not seen a ton of in the Star Wars universe is Hutt space. There's a
Pizza Hut.
Yeah. There's this part of the galaxy that they are in some. Yeah, right. That'd be amazing with like the painted on there needs to be a droid.
I mean, we're getting
with a man's
Spaceballs too,
face
so
just painted on.
maybe.
But I'm really intrigued by this. I like that we're getting the deeper lore stuff brought up front. I was so excited for Grand Admiral Thrawn to be brought on screen. So now to get someone like Rada, and I love that the fans of his that are all about like think he's so handsome and stuff. It's like, oh, you're gonna make him this big slug man. It's like, hold on, just wait till you see him.
This is what I'm intrigued by because I've loved Jeremy Allen White since Shameless. I like him in The Bear. He's a fantastic actor. He's beefed up. People find him hunky, I guess, but I'm more intrigued to see how he's gonna do this because it's like, is he doing the mocap? Like the Hutts don't speak English, so it's like,
yes, they can.
How's he gonna? Oh, they can.
Jabba chooses not to speak basic because
okay, all right. Now this is intriguing.
He speaks Huttonese because it's like a fuck you to everyone else. That's what it's called.
That's fantastic.
No, there's in the Clone Wars, his cousin that kidnaps his son, he speaks basic like everyone else.
Yeah.
Tony the Hutt.
Tony the Hutt.
No. Hey. No, he has kind of got like he does kind of have like a accent. It's really funny. That's actually not far away from what he sounds like. But that's cool. Just a Jabba
kind of
like part of a Jabba thing.
Well, that's cool then. I'm intrigued because I was like, are they just gonna have Jeremy Allen White do these like weird fake voices and grunts? But now I'm intrigued. Awesome. That's cool.
Oh yeah, no, he should. I firmly believe he's going to be speaking basic the whole time. There won't be a subtitle-y stuff going on, at least with him.
Not bad. Yeah, I really can't wait to see what the story is with the Mandalorian and Grogu, and the fact that it's taken this much time. They're not rushing it. It's not just going to be a couple of episodes of the season. It's going to be a compact, tight film.
Well, if these are the foundational steps that bring us into the era of the First Order, this is going to be a big transition because Thrawn needs to come back, needs to come into the fold. This is going to be that all of the remnants of the Imperium, this isn't Warhammer. All of the remnants of the Empire are going to finally band together and commit to this new goal. We are going to be the First Order. So I'm very excited. It's at the end of the day, we're going to see all these cool like heroes we've been following in the series. This is really going to be about the bad guys finally taking hold of something. So
that's nice. I'm looking forward, man.
Me
it
too.
Should be fun. Especially now having that back information that you just filled us in on. That sounds pretty radical.
Hoping so.
And
I know there's theory.
To close out the show, I have some more radical news for us, Dennis.
Oh,
all right. So we're getting a Murder, She Wrote movie, Dennis. And
just what I wanted.
Step aside, Angela Lansbury. There's talks that Jamie Lee Curtis is coming to town as Jessica Fletcher. Oh,
we don't get out of here, Matlock. I want.
Yeah, Kathy Bates. You're just a TV show, not a movie.
That's
I guess
right.
you're probably making the same amount of money because you got a lot more seasons. I don't know, but I'm intrigued because I really like the writers of this. It's Lauren Schucker Blum and Rebecca Angelino, two people who wrote the GameStop stock market movie Dumb Money a couple of years ago that I loved. So I'm intrigued to see what they do modernizing the Murder, She Wrote franchise because it's been on the TV recently. Like my mom watches some of those older shows and I'm like, oh, this is kind of more interesting than I recalled it being. And Jamie Lee Curtis is pretty dynamic and whodunits are killing it right now. But as a film, I don't know.
If anyone's going to be able to carry something like this on screen, I wouldn't doubt for a second she's going to be fine carrying this character. But like you said, it's because the episodes of the show were all about those individual stories. How is that going to feel as a single story in a feature length film? I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah. It feels like it came out of nowhere. I didn't know they were doing this at all.
Well, like Jamie Lee Curtis is going to definitely carry her way to the film. So
100%.
I would be curious to check this one out. I'm going to give this one a watch for sure.
Right? Yeah. Well, giving it a watch, Dennis, is what we like to do here on the show.
That's right.
But before we get to reviews, there's always something more juicy that we got to do. A little thing we call polls.
Yeah.
All right. On the last episode of the show, we reviewed a movie that starred none other than the one, the only Russell Crowe. What's that movie? I don't know. Gladiator, Gladiator 2. What movie? I don't know. What were we talking about on the last episode? That
Gladiator.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank
It was
God.
because I did both. No,
Okay.
Unhinged.
Woo.
Unhinged. Gladiator
Unhinged,
was
yes.
the episode
Wow.
previous to that. Yeah, this was
We've
Unhinged.
been rocking Crowe for a
Russell
couple of weeks
has
here.
just
Yeah.
been all up in our business.
Not Brand, because he probably would
No.
be up in our business.
That's the
Creepy.
last business I want.
Yeah. No, thank you.
Rustled.
Get him out of the Greek, I say.
Yes.
So I wanted to know what the Toasty's favorite Russell Crowe film was out of Land of Bad, Les Mis, Body of Lies, and LA Confidential.
Man, I didn't see Les Mis, so
It's not a bad movie. Speaking
I cannot
of
speak for that. Speaking of
little bit of,
Hugh Jackman up
Huey.
in there. Yeah,
pretty good movie. I mean, I thought it was going to suck and be boring. It's long, it's tedious, but
Huey
interesting.
Lewis and the Miz.
No, that's a different movie.
Gotta get back
Mhm.
in France.
Oh man,
I liked Land of Bad. It's not like it was a great movie. I can't, but that's the thing. I'm curious what the Toasties are going to say because I don't have a fair call.
I'm
of
with
all
you.
4 of them against each other.
I know I
So-
saw Body of Lies. I don't recall it.
So long ago. It was like
don't recall LA
2009. I want to say.
Yeah,
I like-
it's been a bit.
Like
I remember when it came out, and I'm like, that looks kind of boring, but I like these actors. Him and DiCaps.
I was about to say, yeah, DiCaprio. Yeah, that was. I think
But,
that was one that was like people at first like, wait, what's going on with Russell? He looks like he's sitting down a lot, and it's like, who cares? He can't look like
Fuck it.
Maximus every day of his life.
Yeah.
Fucking get off his back.
When
God
did you
damn
look
it.
like that? Fuck you.
Right?
Let him be. And you
Man
know
is
what?
comfortable.
A little bit of a spoiler here, but we're talking about another Russell Crowe film today. So we're keeping the Russell love alive, folks. But I'm with you,
Russell
Dennis.
it up.
Land of Bad. I felt like he was fantastic in it. His character. with
His
the
character.
courts.
Yes, that was awesome. I loved that. Just the presence he had in the room, and some of that I'm sure was on set. Like there was an intimidation factor of just knowing, holy shit, I'm doing a scene with Russell Crowe. And
Oh, hell yeah.
he commanded the presence of all the other, like the Air Force guys in the room, and just the way he came in and just
When he would get
fucking-
pissed off about the
Yeah.
phone calls and the TV and the NBA, it's like, yes, this is intense.
yeah,
This is the Crow we love.
that was
All right,
that was very satisfying in that film for sure.
So I'm with you on Land of Bad, but what about the Toasties you're thinking? Well, 0% for Land of Bad.
I don't blame you. I feel like LA Confidential's probably way up on there. But
Next up, 0% for Les Mis.
really?
People aren't into it, apparently.
Wow.
I remember out of that, everyone's like, Russell Crowe can't sing. It's bad. And it wasn't the best, but you know what? He's a fantastic performer, so fuck you.
I guess if
than-
it's just based on Russell Crowe alone,
Yeah.
I suppose. But yeah,
Right.
I'm still surprised.
Right.
Still not it's not a Wolverine
0%
poll though.
For Body of
Jesus.
Lies.
Oh wow, nobody. just
Leo
gave a
gets
fuck
no
about
love.
that.
And yeah, like you said, Hundro,
Yep.
that's not a word. For LA Confidential. Speaking of someone who's a creeper, look at that Kevin
Oh.
Spacey.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Well-
aged pretty poorly there. Oh boy.
but it's that old school Hollywood vibe though. I dig that.
That's
It's-
for sure.
Like I said, it's been. I don't even remember the last time I've seen this. It's been so long. You know what? I got to add this back to the list. I got to go back and watch it again.
I bet it's somewhere lurking.
It's been way too long. Yeah,
I don't think I've ever seen it. I should check it out. Yeah, we should double tag team it someday.
that would be fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe that's
Or
a
do
New Year's
commentary
viewing.
track. Yeah.
Doing some. Ooh, that's been too long. I miss those. I
That's
miss
my
those.
fave. Just talking shit, drinking, talking about stuff we know nothing about. Yeah, I enjoy
But
it.
it's
I don't
old
know.
school
Anywho,
Hollywood though. That'll be fun. That would be
That's
fun.
very true. Very true. On the last episode, I reviewed the latest Jack Black movie, Dear Santa. And as I did this, I'm like, I feel like I did this poll a couple of months back, but fuck it. I'm doing it again, folks. I want to know what your favorite Jack Black movie was out of School of Rock, King Kong, The Holiday, and Tropic Thunder. Now, Dennis, if I recall correctly, you said you'd never seen The Holiday, right?
I've seen pieces of it. What's funny is I just saw something about Jude Law getting interviewed, like he would do a sequel after all this time. I'm like, what was neat? Why?
And I saw someone do like
Like-
the Holiday 2 fake poster with all of them looking the way they are now. I'm like,
oh, okay, nice.
I'm telling you, Dennis, it's a staple in my
fair enough.
Christmas
Oh
viewing.
no, of course.
I highly suggest
it's a
checking it
common
out.
one.
And I remember when it came out, I forced my friends to go see it because I'm like, it has Jack Black in it. This guy's hilarious.
You're gonna
I'm
fucking
like,
watch it.
oh no. Ooh. I got them watching a rom-com. That's not very rommy, but it's commy.
It's coming. There you go.
That did no. That's nope. Sorry, that didn't come out right. Anywho, what would you pick here, Dennis?
You know what's funny? It's actually quite the toss-up because as memorable as this character is in Tropic Thunder, School of Rock, he has so much heart, and I love the journey his character goes on. But the director character he plays in King Kong is like, I think he's acting so hard, playing that scene, and it shows because like, there's similarities between a couple of the other characters, but in King Kong, he's very much clearly cutting out, this is what I'm doing. But out of all of these, I've seen Tropic Thunder the most, but that's not necessarily speaking just to his performance alone. I mean, I would still say that's Ben Stiller's,
like I've said so many times.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And even Stiller's like, I don't know if I can make that movie today, man. It's like, right. What I do like about him in King Kong, his assistant's played by Colin Hanks, who played his younger brother in Orange County. I feel like we never get to talk about that.
Right? That's true.
But
that's a tough one. You know what? If I had to choose one, I'll go School of Rock.
I'm with you because
he's the star of it. He has to carry the movie, and you feel for him so much in that one.
Yeah, there's a lot of evolution happening here. Honestly, I've seen Jack in things before, but that's when I started my love of Jack Black, and that's when I retroactively was like, oh, that guy from School of Rock has a band, and that's where my life started.
Oh shit!
After that, so
hey, once you go Jack,
you can go back, but I haven't. So let's find out what the Toasties thoughts. 0% for the Holiday, which
that's surprising.
Folks.
I've heard from many people that film is like you said, it's just one of your Christmas like go-tos. It's usually in the lineup. I'm shocked.
Now,
Toasties.
It's funny though, because a couple of years ago on a red carpet, someone asked Jack Black what his favorite holiday film was, and they're like, "Oh yeah, yours is good." And he's like, "I did a holiday film."
Oh my God.
He completely in this movie.
I saw that. He was like, "Oh, that's right. I did do a Christmas movie, didn't I?" And you could just see that reaction on his face, like, "Oh shit, I fucked up a little bit." Like that.
I mean, in a way, it kind of plays as more just like a romantic movie because holiday isn't as important as
sure
the story progresses. Anywho, up next, 25 for PJ's Cade K. That's what I'm calling it from now on.
It's okay.
Another movie I always say, oh yeah, mixing the beats on the island. I always say I want to go back and rewatch it, but I never do. It's just such a long movie, and it's dark and intense, man. But a good film.
Yeah, no, definitely. And that cast is nuts.
Ooh, Adrian Brody,
yeah,
Naomi Watts. I know there's others that are great, but they're not coming to my mind.
Colin Hanks.
Well, I already talked about C.
Yeah.
It'd be great if I forgot about him like 5 minutes later. Oh,
not quite T. Hanks, but you know.
25 cent. 25 cent for Tropic Thunder. That's what I'm sticking with. Like I've said before on the show, I went for Black and kept coming back for Downey. And I think that's when I first realized how fucking ripped fucking Ben Stiller is, man.
Oh
Insane.
My God. Yeah. And he blows heavyweights out of the water with just how far he took it. Like it's I love that scene where it's like, no, you're like Rambo 2 when he comes back all cut. Yeah, he really did go. Clearly that's what he was aiming for. And it works. It shows. It's still such a fucking brilliant comedy.
It's crazy it took so long to get something like that made.
And like you said, there was so much hope that they would do that spin-off or a sequel.
The Les Grossman spin-off. And everyone wanted it. Even Tom Cruise wanted it. But apparently it just never happened.
Could you see him do it now, though? I don't think current Tom Cruise is the Tom Cruise we want to be in that. 10 years ago.
I mean, think about it. It could be interesting if they put a spin on it and it was like a Harvey Weinstein type, like now he's going through like not like raping people or anything. Sorry, I don't mean to trigger anybody, but like he's being called out for all the shit he's done, and we're seeing the fall of someone who was so great, and maybe how he wants to get back in the game. I don't know.
You have some filmic sort of documentary aspects to it, maybe like you're watching. It's there's still something so novel about going to the movie theater and seeing fake trailers and seeing these like other celebrities playing themselves doing.
I remember back when one of the only internship interviews I had that I didn't get that I wanted so bad was at Red Hour. I went to their offices. That's still is a production company. And I remember seeing that they were developing a movie of just trailers, like a fake movie trailer movie. And I'm like, that's so genius. Why did it never happen? Would have been so good.
I do have one quick, just funny story of Val used to work at the movie theater, my wife. And when this was in theaters, she said one of the most annoying things was having people come out of the movie afterwards and ask when fucking Scorcher was coming out, or just like, no, and just having to explain to people, no, that was a fake trailer from within the movie, and and people just not getting it. It's just like, no,
but I mean, I can go get booty juice though if I want it, right?
Booty sweat
in the concessions. Booty sweat,
get a bust in that bar.
Oh, that's gonna be annoying. Or when can I see the fatties?
Fatties 4. I got a whole fatties.
Or what about that? What about that Tobey Maguire movie that he's a beast?
Oh shit.
Something.
Oh
silly.
Man, they're just brilliant. All of
like
that
just
brilliant.
A perfect way to start. Like I love the Grindhouse trailers. Don't get me wrong, but walking in, seeing, and so perfectly how they made fun of modern day movies in this movie, on top of making fun of just
and then proceeding to give you like exactly what they're making fun of. It was just the layers of sarcasm were just genius in this thing, and it was just they tried so hard to make it too, and it showed. There's no half-ass jokes. It was all fucking full send all the way through. That's why the movie stood up so much. I like how we're both hyping this movie up so much,
right?
So obviously
we didn't even vote for it. But just like going back, like I love like when I kissed Lance. What'd you say? Nance. I said Nance. Or even just one of my favorite conversations was Jay Baruchel talking about like, well, Blu-ray could be this because of the porn industry, but a lot of people think Ultra 8. It's like, oh man, that was.
Who are you talking to?
Nerdy.
To whoever's listening. Oh my god, I just love it. Oh, brilliance all around. Just everyone is just fucking on point in that movie, top to bottom. Every department, every cast member.
I gotta rewatch it. Wonderful. It's been a little while.
Oh man, yeah, it's worth it.
Well, that's our mini review there for Tropic Thunder, folks. Of course, that leaves 50% for Dewey Finn in the School of Rock. No surprise there, folks.
A heartwarming tale. Oh man, it's that's one. I know. Haven't they talked about doing a sequel for this one before too?
Oh yeah, there has been. And now to think, the writer of this has gone on to so much like high established. People love him so much because he's the creator of The White Lotus. So different from School of Rock. Such a wholesome, loving movie to such a dark, mysterious, sexy show. It's like, come on, man.
Which I just saw the trailer for the new season today.
The new season,
awesome. Up in Thailand.
My girl Michelle Monaghan. You got our favorite fucking the ghoul himself, Mr. Walter Goggins.
Yeah, Walton Goggins. Yes.
Yeah.
That guy can fucking do like no wrong. I've never seen him play a character I didn't like, so it's going to be good. But back to School of Rock. I mean, it's a relatable tale at some points, heartwarming at others, and you can't help but cheer for them along the way. It's inventive, charming, and funny all the way through.
Honestly, I as a child in my teens, I loved having soundtracks. This is by far one of the finer soundtracks out there. Nice, a mixture of movie music and then music that's established, and it's
the featured music in the
the fake bands in the movie have music in the soundtrack. And it's just sweet seeing like back when it was like, God, I can't be maybe 10 year, not 20, because I don't think it's been that long. But
Dude,
when,
I don't
they
know, man.
reunited at South by Southwest and
Oh,
like performed again, it's like, holy
That's
shit,
right.
it's crazy. Those kids still have it.
right. I love the look at that classic Gibson SG guitar that he's rocking the whole
Right.
time. The AC/DC Angus Young, of course that's what they're going for. And just how dedicated the cast feels like they're into their individual roles too. Everyone's
Well, the
playing
fact
their
that they
part,
weren't
but-
really actors, they were kids who actually were musicians. And then, I mean, it's crazy. Two of the kids are engaged now,
Oh shit.
and one of them's dead. It's like these.
Yeah,
it's
it was unfortunate. It
crazy
was
how
the
much has
drummer, right?
changed.
He only passed
I
away
think so. Freddie?
like a couple of years ago. Yeah, that was
Yeah, and
That's
not
fairly
by like
recent.
drugs or anything, but I think struck down while he was riding a bike.
Oh,
It
this is
wrong.
terrible.
Crazy.
But I always have fond memories of this fantastic cast, though, and
Oh yeah.
in a great film that honestly, like we were saying, out of what you've chosen, I think this highlights Jack Black's acting ability the best out of those given options here.
And
so.
still not just comedy, but the earnestness. One of the scenes that always
Yeah.
sticks out of my head is when he's talking to that girl and she's like, I'm ashamed of being fat. And he's like, well, what about Aretha Franklin? And this and that. And it's like, it's just body positive and owning what you got. It's good stuff.
I like that he has those moments with so many of the kids in his class too,
Mhm.
where it's not just like there's no favoritism. It's you all play your part, whether you're the lead singer or you're making the costumes or you're running the light board, or it's all
right.
comes together into
Or even your little
incredible show.
iCarly just like fucking keeping track of everything.
Miranda, of course,
And-
kills it.
And then fucking Joan Cusack getting drunk in the bar
Yes.
with him. Ah.
I love that scene.
Yeah.
I love Stevie Nicks.
And then Sarah Silverman like just
damn it,
hating
yeah.
Dewey.
Oh, man. Great flick.
film.
See, there's one I got to
Oh,
rewatch
yeah.
again. It's been a little bit.
Ooh, I've watched that movie so many times. It never gets old.
Oh no,
That's the chitty chitty bang bang to me, but
there you
I
go.
know not as old as chitty chitty.
As long as
But
it means
boy,
as
is it
much,
not chitty
I
chitty.
get it.
All right.
There's the
well,
episode title right there. Boy, is it not shitty.
hmm.
Oh,
Ooh, I
man.
can't believe we've been talking for almost an hour with no reviews because that's how good entertainment is, folks.
Hey,
We're not entertaining. Well, maybe we are.
we know, we
the-
try.
the-
We try.
the industry is so entertaining that we can talk
Yes.
about it for such lengths. But let's get
Exactly.
to the point of the show, folks. Tell you what's out in the world, what you should and should not see by our own opinion, with a little
That's
thing we
right.
like to call reviews.
Let's hit it.
Lights, camera, action, it's review time. Dennis and Adam, we gon' blow your mind. We're stepping up to the plate, ready to swing. Analyzing movies like a scientist with brain.
All
I wanna
right,
be a
Dennis.
scientist with bling.
That's what I'm saying, dude. You, sir,
Right
are our
now.
first scientist with Bling today, man. You
All
are
right.
following up your review from last week with a more modern view of a movie called Midway from 2017.
Yeah, 2019. 2019.
19. Yikes.
Yes. So this is like Adam was teasing. This is another film telling the same story of the infamous Battle of Midway, the turning point of the Pacific Theater during World War II. This was the extremely decisive battle that had some very, very specific decisions not been made, and they had not committed the way they had. World War II would have looked wildly different. So we right off the bat, this cast, fantastic. Ed Skrein, Woody Harrelson, Patrick Wilson, Luke Evans, Aaron Eckhart, Dennis Quaid, Mandy Moore,
Yikes. Killer's Row. Woo!
and Nick Jonas. But there's
Come on. Jonas was good in a little movie called Jumanji, The Next Level.
hey,
That's all
but
I
you know
him from.
he's talking like this in the whole movie, and he's fucking off. Oh, anyways, but yes, he was. No, I'll give him. He gave me some shekels in Jumanji. I'll give him that. Not wrong. There.
Playing a young Colin Hanks. Spoiler alert, folks.
See Hanks.
It all comes back to Hanks. By the way, if you're looking for a good holiday gift, he does sell a thing called handkerchiefs. I'm getting it wrong, but he has his own handkerchiefs company. So if you're looking for handkerchief, folks, go to our boy Tommy's son. Yeah, Colin Hanks.
There should just be pictures of his dad in Forrest Gump, just all over it.
That'd be fantastic.
Anyways,
and then for the special edition, you get his like half brother on there, Chet Hanks, like when he went missing, and classic.
Make up a Hanks, but it's Walton Goggins. He's just random. I'm Stephen Hanks. So anyways, this is
so angry.
Another this is directed by Roland Emmerich. So you already know the story's gonna be told on a grand scale, which it absolutely is. One of the biggest differences I noticed between this one and the 1976 version is that this one kind of strips away several of the melodramatic elements that the marriage storyline from the first one is all gone.
That was a pretty fun storyline from what you
added a lot of intrigue. Yeah, no, what's funny is like I didn't hate it. By the end of the movie, it tells a lot about the mentality of the audience at the time and the reality of just people still being people, wanting to live their life. People fall in love, regardless of where you came from, where your origins are. Love is still love.
Love is love.
Exactly.
Like in the holiday.
Don't really get like in the. We don't quite get as much of that in here. There's a little bit of the wife missing her husband who's gone away on the mission, but the time frame for this one is a lot tighter. Right away, that was something I noticed.
That's a plus.
The other one was a lot broader, where you kind of actually see some of the Battle of Pearl Harbor. This one starts after, that's not even true. You see a little bit of the Battle of Pearl Harbor, but we jump into January where they are setting up for this mission. You kind of skip over, which I was kind of bummed. You skip over some of the not espionage, but like the intercepting transmissions and stuff. They do a little bit of that. It's just not focused quite as much.
And that was a pretty big part of the story in the last one, right? From your last review,
yes.
It sounded pretty key.
And the characters were really interesting in those scenes, and I really liked how they played it out. The portrayal, though, of Woody Harrelson as oh my god, I can't think of the admiral in charge of the American theater at the time.
Captain Jack Sparrow.
Damn! Oh my god, I'm losing my my history here.
You can make up a name and nobody would know unless they saw
Nimitz. There we go. I remembered.
Okay.
Admiral Nimitz. I didn't have to finish looking it up. His portrayal of Admiral Nimitz was awesome. He just super hard nosed. It's not like we're seeing the same Woody Harrelson you see all the time. Patrick Wilson, of course, is fantastic. The intelligence officer, and his familiarity, because he had met the Japanese admiral at the time that they were fighting against. It's still gritty, but what's funny about this one is I feel like a lot of people might say this one's more polished, except to the point to where it's like over polished. Some of the special effects are like almost overdone, where it looks so fake. It's like we're watching video game cutscenes dropped into a movie.
Yeah.
And some of those, the explosions and things, would start to take me out of it. I like some of these air battles and stuff. Ed Skrein, which unfortunately the last couple of things I saw him in were those Rebel Moon movies, which he was, a villain, but man, was he a kick-ass pilot in this. I liked the storyline and the journey that they went on. It's it's the same story, where it's going to go, but even knowing that, you still have some interesting scenes. There's still some cool stuff, but it just didn't hit quite as hard. I gotta be really honest. If I given the choice, I'd rather go back and watch the 1976 version again.
I can hear it in your voice, man. Everything that sounded intriguing to me. This isn't my type of movie, but listen to your review of that first one. I'm like, that actually sounds like there's a lot going on that can be enjoyable. Yeah. And it sounds like they stripped it in this movie, and the joy isn't there, and the excitement and the intrigue.
It's trying to heighten these moments of like, oh, this plane's coming in hot. We got to make sure, it's going to be. you see it dip down below the flight deck and just barely catch up onto the aircraft carrier.
It's a modern day version, not what you get back in the day. The intensity, I assume.
Yes,
because
exactly.
back then, I imagine they were doing some pretty crazy stuff with the stunts that, like you said, now it's like, CG it. Nobody cares. It's
everything. Yeah, everything is. I mean,
not seeing a real fighter jet and action.
Yep. There's even when they did use real like footage in the first film, it blended well with the pacing of the rest of the movie. This one, it just, I don't know, it just didn't dig its claws in, which I kind of hoped it would, but I kind of had the feeling it wasn't going to work quite as well. And fortunately, yeah, it just didn't quite resonate nearly as much with me. I'm going to give Midway 2019, I'm going to give it 2 slices. It's available on Netflix as of now. If you're really into the subject matter, I still think it's worth watching. But if you really haven't seen a film about Midway before, please go back and watch the 1976 version of Midway. That's still excellent film. I gave it 3 slices in the previous episode, and I haven't changed that one bit.
Nice. All right. Heck yeah, man. All right, well, I'll try to get us in a little bit of a better direction, even though 2 slices is not bad.
Which, dude, yes.
Something we talked about off mic, the latest Trailer Park Boys movie. Trailer Park Boys present Standing on the Shoulders of Kitties, the Bubbles and the Shitrockers story. By God, Dennis. It's been a while since I've watched any Trailer Park Boys stuff, but my dad was a huge Trailer Park Boys fan, and I used to watch stuff, and I'm like, man, this show's funny. So I'm like, fuck it, I'll see this movie. It happens to be playing at a theater near me, so I'll check it out. And I like Bubbles. He's my favorite character.
Yeah.
And this picks up with Bubbles kind of performing some music at an old person's home. He's excited. He's enjoying it. He's singing a song about kitty cats, his favorite thing, of course. And he's getting paid in essentially cafeteria food. They're like, here you go. And he's like, hey, I brought back the tray and I even washed the plate for you, but I'll be taking my payment for this one. And then he's out and about in town, and he sees that there is a song contest that the local radio station is putting on, and you can win $100 if you have the best song. So he puts out failures, auditions to put together. And that's essentially what it is. And it's fantastic. He's so excited about this. And it turns out that he happens to have a little recording studio that he happens to run called Tabby Road, a play on Abbey Road Studios. Yeah. Because he's always dreamed of going to England and recording at Abbey Road. And this is kind of his homage to it. And there's normally a documentary about him and Ricky and Julian, but there's a documentary being made about him and his music, and they're following this. And so we're seeing all these auditions and him interviewing people, and he puts together a band. And it's funny because they perform, they're rehearsing at Ricky's place, and Ricky's like, well, I'm a part of the band. And it's like, no, you're not. He's like, you're fucking at my house. I'm part of the band. He's like, well, what do you play? He's like, I play the pan. And he grabs like a pan and starts hitting, and he's like, oh, you can't do that. And there's the whole
fucking
fight.
Instrument, Ricky. I could just hear. Oh my God.
And then Julian comes in because Julian didn't want him doing it at his house because, well, of course, he was going to have some ladies over, and you can't have a band there. But Julian's like, yeah, well, you know what? I want to be your manager. Ricky, you're fired. And Bubbles is like, you don't have experience as a man. You don't know anything about being a manager. And he's like, watch this. Pulls out the phone, makes a call. He's like, I got you a gig. Work, putting on a show at the local VFW. And he's like, oh shit. God. It's always been my dream. That's the biggest stage ever. And he's so excited. He goes, and there's a show. They do it. There's not a huge turnout, but he feels like a rock god. And then the guy who runs the place is like, wow, you put on a show and there was no fights. People were just entertained by your music. How would you like to hit the circuit? And he's like, yeah, this is amazing. And so they hit the road. They go on a little mini road trip, and they're living the life. But of course, to get around, they end up going to Randy, who has a his dirty burgers camper that he sells burgers out of. And Randy's like, oh, sure, I'll come and I'll sell burgers. And he's like, well, if you're coming, you're going to be a roadie. You're going to lug our gear. And he's like, oh, okay, sure. And so Bubbles loads up the cats, the people, they hit the road, and they're loving it. He's a little beat up. He's like, ooh, that's a lot of work to do this.
I gotta ask, is Randy still shirtless?
And
of course.
I don't know if this is a thing that was ever established in any of the shows, but they say why Randy's shirtless. Someone asks, they're like, this guy needs to put on a shirt because at one point they got to go on an airplane. He's like, oh, he can't do that. He's allergic to wearing anything above the waist. He can wear anything underneath. It's like, wow. So essentially, sorry, I'm giving you, it's so fucking fun. But essentially they think the tour's over, but they end up getting one more gig playing at a penitentiary. And none of these inmates want to hear all the music that Bubbles plays. It's like shit kicking music. And people are like, Bubbles, I don't think this is what you think it is. Like, oh no, it's music my dad used to listen to. It's shit kicking music. And like, all right, maybe, all right, fine. But it's all about cats. Every song's about cats. And of course, nobody in this prison wants to hear music about cats. They're badasses. And of course, Bubble has this one famous song about drinking and smoking. And he plays that. And chaos ensues. And brawls happen. And people are recording it on their cell phones, one of the guards. And it goes viral. And it blows up. And the booker for a big European tour that Billy Bob Thornton's band is doing is intrigued. And of course, they know Billy Bob Thornton because they did something. Him and the boys did something with Billy Bob at one point. And they want Bubbles and the Shitrockers to open for him on tour. And this is insane. Bubbles is losing his mind. He's never left, even though they've gone to Europe before in specials and whatnot. But apparently that's not canon or something. But Bubbles is going without Julian, without Ricky, but luckily Randy's gonna be there with them. And everyone else in the band, they're like living it up. They're like partying, drinking, and the guy kind of managing Billy Bob Thornton's band is someone from their past who hates him and the gang. So he's really hard on them, always giving Bubbles shit, and he gives Bubbles 3 chances, and like Bubbles has to tame these guys. Like, guys, we can't get kicked off, and crazy things ensue. I'm sorry, I'm going beat by beat. Essentially, it's a European tour with Bubbles and the Shitrocker living out their dreams, and it's just heartwarming. It's hilarious. I laughed nonstop watching this.
That's awesome.
And there's a lot of musical cameos, a lot of different styles of music and bands. And the interesting thing is, this group really did go on tour because I looked it up. They went on a European tour. So these are real shows that are recorded because you feel like you're really watching shows. And it's real. It's legit. You feel like you're a fly on the wall, but yet it's also cinematic. It has heart. It has soul. I loved every second of Standing on the Shoulder of Kitties.
That's awesome, man.
I don't know if it's still in theaters right now, but if it is, go check it out. I assume it's going to hit Netflix because that's where the Trailer Park Boys kind of live. Check it out when you get the chance. This movie is top notch. I'm going to give this film, Standing on the Shoulders of Kitties, 3.5 slices of toast. I had a blast watching it. Sorry for the tangent.
Just like when you started laying out the story, I was like, oh my God, I'm already fucking sold. I was sold 10 minutes ago. I'm like,
you were saying are literally things that he says. Like, you can just tell. And it's funny because he tries having dominance over all these people.
Right.
And then there's
he
moments.
Doesn't have the personality. He just doesn't.
No.
Bubbles is too kind of soul. He just can't. That's just not his vibe. Oh, that's so awesome, though. That's so great to hear. It's been so long since they've had new live action content from them. That's all like new stuff. So I'm really excited to hear that it was that good. So very excited to check that out.
And honestly, it was only playing like once, and I think it was like a 4:30 or once a day at my theater I went to. But there was a decent amount of people, and there was a guy down like a couple of rows down talking and like just like making comments about what's going on the screen because he's loving it. I can tell he's a fan. Normally stuff like that would piss me off, and I'm like, this feels like something my dad would be saying, like, because I'm like, it kind of filled me with joy seeing someone so excited, enjoying it, and
That's awesome.
seeing what I think might be his favorite thing. And man, it was something.
That's cool. That sounds like a great time, man.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think you dig it for sure.
You got me excited for it for sure. I did. It's because what's funny. The song you were mentioning where he said one that has been heard before. When Val and I saw them live when they came to LA, I'm pretty sure that was the song you're talking about.
I wouldn't be shocked. The whole time they're all like, "Oh, Bubbles, just enter that song in the contest. Everyone loves that song." And he's like, "Oh, I want to do something serious. I want something from my heart and soul. And this is, I care about kitties. Nobody really sings about them. It is a market that I can corner." And just like, but like, they're like, Shitrockers, that's not what you think it means. Like, oh, my daddy, it's music that makes you want to rock out. And they're like, all right, Bubbles, if that's what you think, sure thing, buddy. And it's just cute watching Julian. He's like a proud parent, like afraid to send Bubbles off into the world and just being so wholesome. And then yet you have Ricky. It's like, watch out, man. A lot of crazy things could happen over there. Don't get decapitated. I hear that you have I forget who it was. One of the old infamous killers from back in the day is like, he's out there, man. Crazy things, or hopefully terrorists don't attack your plane. And he's like, why would you fucking say that to him? He's like, I don't know if I want to go now.
Jesus
like,
Christ. That's great.
Just so, and like he'd have to call him up and be like, I don't know how I want to come back. And they're like, no, you stick it out, Bubbles. You're doing great. Keep doing it. If anything happens, we'll hop on a plane. We'll be there for you. We'll do it. And I don't know if that happens or not, but interesting things happen.
I'll have to definitely check that one out for sure.
Sorry, I went on a long tangent here. I'm intrigued to hear about your next movie because I saw a trailer and it sparked some interest.
Let's get it festive here. Folks.
Yeah,
So I got a little flick that's available on Hulu as we speak called A Sudden Case of Christmas. So this has a really fun lineup right out the gate. Danny DeVito, of course, right up front. That's what drew me in as well, right out the gate. But then his daughter, Lucy DeVito, is also starring in it with her, as well as Wilmer Valderrama and Andy McDowell. And it's telling a story of a family that so Wilmer Valderrama and Lucy DeVito are two parents that are going through a rough patch, and they think it's time that they separate. Well, every Christmas they go to her father's hotel in Italy, in the Dolomites, and they always spend it together with his parents, with her, with her parents. Unfortunately, his wife had passed away a few years ago, and he's left to kind of run the hotel alone. But he's got his faithful butler assistant bellhop guy that's kind of just omnipresent, does a little bit of everything. He can play the piano, he can pour a drink, he can do it all. So they've decided to break tradition a little bit. They're coming in the summer because they want to go back to the hotel one more time before they split up. And this is where they decide they're going to tell her, and they want her dad to tell her for them. And he's like, no, this isn't my job. I'm not going to be the one she's going to remember this horrible thing. I'm going to help her. She wants one more Christmas. Or, she decides like, okay, if you're breaking up, then we need to have one more Christmas here because you're not going to want to all come back. And he's like, all right, let's do it. I'm going to pull out all the stops. We're going to get out all the Christmas decorations in the middle of summer. We're going to do it 100%. And I got to say, man, this movie is just charming from top to bottom. It's nice. The cast alone is just doing a really killer job of making it all feel the way they're setting it up. Our parents at the center of the story are going through a rough patch, but then you have Wilmer Valderrama's parents who are coming in for our faux Christmas. That it turns out they're kind of not doing too well either. You come to find out one of the other guests at the hotel, his dad had a fling with 10 years ago when he was still married to her mom, and this was like a whirlwind romance overnight that neither of them have ever forgotten. So he's trying to hide out in his hotel room so they don't cross paths. And Andy McDowell bumps into her, and they're just like best friends immediately. And she's telling her about this. I met this man years ago, and I've never forgotten him. Not realizing she's talking about her husband. Then you've got the little girl's parents. They're Lucy DeVito is this lawyer that she's struggling to maintain kind of power and at the law firm. Wilmer's telling her like, you could be running that shit all on your own. You have no business taking shit from anybody. And they're kind of fighting about this. There were some transgressions that transpired between them in the past. All while DeVito's character is just trying to kind of keep everything together. And we want to make all of this happen. It's a really cute story with some very real elements that I like, that they didn't flinch away from the kind of uglier things that can happen in families like this. And it's not all just like lollipops and fucking rainbows the whole time, but it's still, there's still a lot of joy to be had. Even when things get down, that's really, I think, the point of this movie too, is stay like not just ignoring the bad things, but kind of like embracing them and just realizing, acknowledging these things happen and making the best of the situation. And we're still recognizing there's still love here. Even if it's not all running the same direction, they're all still connected through family. And it's a really cute story. And I honestly had a great time watching it. I just remember having this moment of just like, man, if more Lifetime movies were like this, I actually would be watching more of these things.
Shut your mouth. Lifetime movies aren't as bad as you think, man. They're pretty fun.
But there's something about what this thing is. There's something about this film that reminds me of that.
The heart.
Yeah. And I like
value,
the
production.
That's the
story.
They really shot this on location, and it is fucking gorgeous. I remember just like thinking multiple times watching this film, like, why isn't this a more popular film location? Because it is so beautiful. I loved that it took place in Italy like this, out in the countryside, and it was both very rural, but then when we're back in the hotel, it's aged coming from a beautiful era. Like, everything looks great, the dialogue's funny, the performances are great, and the music's great too. I think it was great all around. I think it's definitely one to put into the Christmas rotation. So I'm going to give A Sudden Case of Christmas 3 slices of toast. It is over on Hulu now. Please go check it out if you're looking for more holiday festivities to add into your watch list. Definitely add this one.
I'm not gonna lie, you kind of sold me, man. I saw the trailer
Good.
and I'm like, I was halfway. I'm like, maybe, but after hearing that review, I'm sold. I'm gonna check it out. Sometime this week.
I think you dig it, man.
And the thing that I'm loving about this is the fact that Danny DeVito is getting to play someone more grounded, more like him probably in real life. I'm so used to now the 16 years of Frank Reynolds and horror this and bitch that, but it's nice to see him just being a grandpa, being a cool guy.
What's funny is like maybe the language doesn't get to that point. The language, like, he doesn't use the language, but there's a couple scenes where you start to see like that side come out a little bit, and it's really funny when he gets like a little angry at a couple characters.
Nice.
But it's definitely not that. Obviously, it's it never gets to that sort of thing. But there's a lot of these. There's so many cute little storylines back and forth. There's the drama within the family itself, but then there's a lot of stuff going on, like with the daughter. She has a class project, a video project she's trying to film of what she did for her summer, and she's going through her own turmoil with the boy she likes that was cute. That turns out he's got a summer girlfriend, and it's funny that like she's the winter girl when it's really cute though. It's really sweet. It's definitely
and Andy McDowell, she's always fantastic.
Oh my god, yes.
Yeah. I'm loving this poster here. Besides a cute little dog wrapped in
very important dog, by the way.
Pencil.
That's not just a random dog. That is a
nice.
key scene.
But they found someone to put DeVito back to back in a sweet, fun pose together. And I'm not convinced that he might be on an apple box here, but I'm loving this picture, man.
Oh, you'll see, like when you see them, there's a couple scenes where they do stand like face to face, or they're like dancing together in one scene. She's easily like a good inch or so taller.
Like it looks like you'd see a little bit on. Yeah. I'm excited, man. I look forward to checking this out on Hulu.
Good. I'm glad.
Yeah. My next movie is currently in theaters. It's a movie called The Order. All right, now this is a pretty interesting movie, kind of based on true life events. And of course, some characters are amalgamations of different characters and people in real life. But it's about a FBI agent named Terry Husk. He used to be in the big city, New York. His last job kind of went south and it caused a rift with him and his wife. And he's decided, all right, you know what? I'm gonna kind of pull back a little bit. And I'm going to go to Washington. I'm going to go somewhere rural, a little more peaceful. I'll get established and then you guys can come out with me. And this character is played perfectly by Jude Law. And once he goes there, he starts going around town. People seem nice, but he's seeing these flyers kind of up in there's some weird stuff written on it. Some like real white power supremacist type stuff.
Ooh.
And he's like, what the fuck is this? He goes to the local sheriff's office and he's like, hey, I'm new in town. Just wondering, what are these flyers? And they're like, oh, that's just this group of people. They stay to themselves. We don't want to cause any trouble. So we let them put the flyers up. And he's like, are you fucking serious? You're the law. This is ridiculous. And this takes place, I want to say in the 80s.
Okay. That was about to be my first question.
Yeah,
there.
A different time, but it's very relevant to stuff that happens today. I'm not going to lie. But then this one young hotshot cop, played by Ty Sheridan, is like, that's not all that they're printing. And like, you can tell the head sheriff is like, shut the fuck up. We don't want to. He's like, you go back to work. Don't worry about this. And so Jude Law kind of sets him up. He like sees Ty has like some cigarettes. He's like, hey, can I grab a smoke? And he lights a cigarette and leaves his lighter behind and leaves. And then Ty comes out to give it to him. And he's like, hey, what did you mean by this? And it's like, well, I hear that they've been printing fake counterfeit money and something seems off about them. And he's like, that doesn't make sense. And he's like, I think something's up. And there's been these strings of bank robberies throughout the state. And he's like, I think that this is this group. They're called the Order. I think this is them. I think they're robbing banks to fund their war chest because they have these pretty intense things that they want to do. I know a guy who is a member there, and he told me all about this. And of course, that guy is now missing. And Jude Law's like, okay, I want your help. I want to look into this. So they start digging into this, and it kind of becomes this cat and mouse game. And then we're seeing the flop. We're seeing the reverse of it, which is a member of the group, Bob Matthews, played by Nicholas Hoult, someone who you're going to be talking about.
Yeah.
And he's kind of like, he's a member, like, I didn't realize that supremacists had like their own churches and stuff. And he kind of wants to do more than just what they're doing. He's in charge of this like subgroup who are robbing the banks and doing counterfeit money. And even the priest, I use in quotes, of course, is like, hey, you're flying too close to the sky. You shouldn't be doing this. It's not good. I don't want any part of this. And then he essentially wants to overthrow and get people to join him. And essentially we see his side. We see him with his family, and we see them throwing these like family barbecues. And there's this disturbing scene where we're seeing a young baby being kind of baptized by the white supremacist group. We're seeing just these things like at one of the barbecues, he's teaching his like 4-year-old son how to shoot like a shotgun, and it's disturbing. And then we realize that they're planning all these things, and like essentially like they want to overthrow the federal government. Like, and there's this one real life radio host named Alan Berg, who is a Jewish guy who used to take on these type of people who would call up and he'd defend, say, hey, I here's my take on it. And he's played perfectly by Mark Maron. We see him a couple of times.
Nice.
And it's kind of Mark kind of doing his own thing. And then there's this scene where in real life, Alan Berg was gunned down by these guys. And we see this happen, and it's one of the most powerful scenes in this movie. Like, it starts off seeing him driving, like a shot of him driving with like a camera connected to his door, and like we're seeing him opening the door, and we're seeing him get out of his car. We're seeing him massacred, all from the angle of his car. And like I had a buddy who saw it,
Oh,
and I'm like, hey, what do you think about this movie? He's like, it's great, but what about this car shot? And I'm like, fucking favorite shot in the movie. It's chilling. And then there's this cat and mouse game of Jude Law and Nicholas Holt's character. There's a couple of chances where Nicholas Holt could kill him, but he's like kind of toying with them. And it's a really fantastic film. And the locations they shot on, I'm like, this is fantastically beautiful looking. Of course, it's somewhere in Canada, not really Washington, but it looks sharp. It looks crisp. It's intense. And like, essentially, like they show like this handbook that these people have, a real life fiction book about kind of what their manifesto is, and like all these things that they've done through time, and even like stuff leading to the January 6th insurrection. And like, it's still modern, and it's insane the stuff that goes down in this movie. And it was heavy. It's 2 hours, but it flies by, and it's just intense. It's gritty, fantastic performances. Man, I loved every second of The Order. It's in theaters now. I'm gonna give it 3 slices of toast. It's a fine movie, but
damn.
Be warned, it's intense. There's a lot going on here.
Yeah, especially that subject matter. You definitely have to be like mentally ready for tackling that sort of thing. But that cast the cast is fantastic. So that's definitely sounds like it's up my alley. I would definitely be up for checking that out.
100%. And you forget how these two great actors giving these like American accents British. And so, goddamn, they're good at what they do. Love them.
Nice.
But I think you're going to talk about a Nicholas Holt movie.
I am. I'm going to bring back a flick that was covered previously, but I finally got around to it myself. Val actually was able to. We got to watch it as a screener from the Producers Guild. So this is the Clint Eastwood film Juror number 2. So thankfully, it's going to be getting a lot easier to reach for people here very shortly. In fact, I think right before or right after this episode comes 20th. Out, you should be able to go check it out on Max. But this is telling the story of someone a man who's picked for jury duty, that he's going through his own personal struggles. And as the evidence arises in the particular case that was called in for, he's realizing he very likely had something to do with the outcome of this case. And it's a different kind of cat and mouse game of him and the prosecuting attorney, especially when she starts to like realize this is very relevant, like this is still very much at play. Toni Collette does such a fantastic job in this movie. Nicholas Holt, obviously he's great. I love seeing Cedric Yarborough in this.
And fantastic.
Kiefer Sutherland's always, I always love
when he just dominates the screen, and his character is so perfect and used perfectly and intricate to the story, but not fully there. Loved him in it.
Same with J.K. Simmons. Yeah, that's funny. I was just about to say that.
Real tipping point here.
Having said all that, Toni Collette, I almost feel this is her movie. She did such a good job in that character, especially when you get to the climax at the end, that final like. Here's the thing. I don't know if it's a reveal. I'm not going to spoil anything, of course. I don't want to ruin that aspect of it. But I think this is where my issue for the film arises. It starts off in an intense tone that's like you're getting right away. Oh my God, you're starting to realize what's happening. And as the snowball starts rolling down the hill, so to speak, it's not getting that big. We're having these small incremental increases in the gravity of the situation, but I kind of wanted it to be a little bigger. I kind of like that was something I definitely felt, especially by the end of the film.
Like he built up the tension. He brought heat on himself.
Yes,
he didn't have to, and it should have gone bigger and wider.
Yes, and I think that's what, especially like you said in your review. When I am going into watching a Clint Eastwood movie, I kind of have this certain very grand expectation for it. The story usually takes this triumphant turn, or there's a big reveal, and it never quite gets there. It's by no means it's not a bad movie. There's other films of his, like we mentioned Cry Macho in your review, where like it was fine. It was very pretty to look at. This one, I think it's shot very well, but it's not like any particular set is just like this gorgeous location, or you take this incredible advantage of where you are, other than when we get to like the exterior of the courthouse when we're doing some of those shots walking out and things. But I mean, the performances are great, like I said, but there's just something. By the time I hit the end of this movie, it definitely left me kind of wanting a little more,
like,
not more
the
movie.
That should be the end of the second act, and then there should be a little bit more of what the fuck. I mean, I appreciate that it's like, oh, what's gonna happen here? But it's like,
right. I understand. I understand
you
you leaving it on that note, but that it wasn't satisfying enough for me. So I'm definitely going to agree with you on that. Just like, although an artfully done film, maybe I see why they didn't push it quite as hard, because this isn't quite the home run, but this is definitely putting someone on base. So I still think it's worth checking out, especially if you're a Clint Eastwood fan. Please don't let that slow you down. And again, like we hyped up that cast, and it's not for no reason. Everyone, every juror member, the judge, everyone in that room is always like really giving a fantastic performance. It's just, I think it's the story itself is really where I think it kind of plateaus for me. And I really
do appreciate the fact that we get to see a little bit more dynamic. I really like the dynamic between Chris Mencina and Toni Collette, like their love-hate friendship, but they didn't do much with that.
Exactly. And it didn't, it's like, I mean, the sad part is, I mean, there's episodes of like Law and Order when I was really into that, where you'd have these cool scenes where you take the prosecuting attorney and the defense attorney, and then they're at the bar having a drink, and it's like, oh man, you really got me on that one, but maybe try to hit me with this one. And they tried to do that a little bit in this movie, but it just didn't quite punch me as hard as I really wanted it to. And I maybe that's on me as the audience member and my personal expectation, instead of just letting it be what it is. But I feel like you started off on this, you climbed up to this high point really quick, and then you just slowly descended off of it without having a truly satisfying resolution to the story. And maybe you'll think otherwise, Toasties, but I'm gonna have to give Juror number 2.5 slices. So it falls short, I think, from some of the other reviews and things you might see online. But you have to see for yourself, though.
I get it. Yeah, you have some valid points. I think I liked it a little bit more than you. I think I like the fact that it kind of feels like an older, more mature movie that we don't see very often. And
like you're saying,
I was more intrigued by
To Kill a Mockingbird, and like I see where you were aiming for these things. You know, like. It's not like it's trying to be My Cousin Vinny or something, you know, but it's not Mystic River, you know, it's not, it's not his best movie, but it's not his worst movie at the same point. No, by no means.
I agree with what you're saying. You are 100% right about what you say. Yeah. So, yeah. But like you said, make the call for yourself.
Exactly. It's one you definitely
coming to Max.
Yeah.
It's not. You won't regret watching it.
Exactly. I totally will not. You would not regret watching it. It's still worth viewing for sure. And then Nicholas Hoult. I mean, that guy's just kind of killing. Right? He's on a good run right now.
Yeah, he's got those 2 movies we just reviewed, and then coming in a couple of days, Nosferatu.
Yes, hell yeah.
He's killing it right now, man.
Mm-hmm.
And he is a fantastic actor. And next year, get him as Lex Luthor. See how that goes.
Oh, hey, that should be interesting. But but yeah, a lot of good stuff here to enjoy though. At the end of the day,
definitely. All right, so up next, I have another kind of hard hitting style movie. It's called September 5. That's right, not September 5th, as it should be, just September 5. All right, so this movie is interesting. It takes place during the 1972 Munich Olympics, and it follows the ABC sports broadcasting, and everything's going normal. And then there's a switch out, and it's like 4 a.m. Nothing's really happening, but people are working. And then you hear some gunshots out in the distance. It's like, oh, what the hell was that? Interesting. And then reports are that there has been a hostage crisis that's happening in the Olympic Village with the Israeli athletes. And it turns out that they're being held at gunpoint, and it's crazy because nobody knows what to do, because this is the people of Munich were thinking this is our chance to kind of have a better presence with the world, because we kind of things have been dicey with us past, and this is not going as planned. We don't want to scare people, so we'll still air the games. But the interesting thing is, this group of people, these sports broadcasters, their studio is legit right outside of the village, and they can get a perfect shot of the apartment complex that this is all happening.
Where the terrorists
and
are
so,
holding them.
Yeah, and they got Peter Jennings, I think, is out covering stuff, and he's kind of broadcasting, explaining what's going on, and they're getting shots. They show bringing these giant studio cameras outside and broadcasting, and this is the first time it's ever been done. Like,
yeah, I was gonna say, isn't this like the first time that an incident like this was ever on camera or broadcast live? God, yeah, that just had to be terrifying.
And they're going through the edge of their seats, and like they're showing stuff, they're talking, and they're just like, people are like, you shouldn't be covering this. You guys are sports people. And they're like, well, we're the only ones who really can get what we're getting right now.
They're the ones on the ground.
And they don't know what's happening. They don't know if they should be showing this, but they know that people should be aware of what's going on. And it's just interesting because this is kind of like a movie I reviewed recently, Saturday Night, about Saturday Night Live, but this is really intense. You're really living in this studio, and it's a whole day. We start at like 4 a.m, and we're going all night with this. And over time, they're questioning whether what they're doing is right or wrong, especially once they realize, all right, now we're seeing the police now are planning to go in there. And they're showing shots of the police kind of stumbling because nobody has ever dealt with this over here. So they're just sending people out trying to do it. And they're showing this on TV thinking this is only going to America. And then someone's like, no, we're streaming. We're being televised in the village for people to watch. And they're like, oh, so the terrorists might be able to see everything we're showing. It becomes this moral quandary for them. Right. And some people are like, we got to cut the cameras. Even the cops barge in and they're like, you got to shut this down. Stop doing this. And they listen for a bit, but they're like, no, fuck it. We have to do this. This is what we need to do. And it's like, even when there's word that everything's over, the terrorist's been stopped, the hostage has been freed. Normally what you got to do for news stories here is you got to have at least 2 or 3 confirms and confirmations before you can say it live. And they're like, we got the scoop, we should run it now. Even the Munich television saying it, so let's do it. But they're like, no, we've got to word it specifically as we're hearing now. You got to say in front of it. So they say it, and then it turns out maybe we might have spoke a little too soon.
Yeah.
And just the pressure and the tension, and just this movie is nerve-wracking and beautiful, and it kind of looks like it was shot on film, and it feels like you're really in the time period. It's only an hour and 35 minutes, but they pack so much into it. It's insane how good this movie is. And it has Peter Sarsgaard, John Magarino, Leonie Benash. I don't know. It has a bunch of people who I don't fully know, but everyone's giving fantastic performances. Awesome. It's sharp. It's interesting. There's jokes in here that are funny. I don't know. It's great. I'm giving September 5, currently in limited release. It's getting a wider release in 2025 in January.
Okay.
I'm gonna give it I'm gonna give it three slices of toast, man. It's
nice.
Top notch filmmaking, I think.
Damn.
Yeah.
Oh, badass, man.
Yeah.
Dang. Yeah. It's that story alone. It's gut-wrenching, but it is interesting to learn about in that respect.
Mhm.
I know that event alone set the precedent for how terrorist situations are handled, what the procedure is from that point on for when if something were like this were to ever occur again. Like, do
Yep.
not like give these people this much control of the airways. There's an incident, I don't know if it was right before this or right after, where in Germany again, there were terrorists that kind of took over news cameras. They just started walking up to the news reporters and talking to them, and it's like that we can't give them this stage anymore because it's just going to keep fueling this sort of activity. But this event alone was also, the entire world was watching the game.
Yeah.
So that is
And
unprecedented in this scale.
It was insane because like they found a way to sneak a guy in there with film reels, to bring to their camera people, and they locked it down, but they found a way in and out, and they were getting live footage that they could then put right up. And like, it's just crazy seeing how even they're like, we're not canceling the Olympics, we're still going on, even though this is happening right now. It's like, what the fuck? This is insane. And watching like how they were cutting between, and like the way that they got the first time to have like a caller on the air listening to that, and like they hacked into like the police scanners to hear what was happening, and just watching how like nobody was prepared, like you were saying. Like even the negotiator was like laid back, and like even the people in the studio are like, oh, these caterers that are bringing food in, clearly cops, they're not fooling anybody, nobody's falling for this. And like just how ill prepared everyone was for this, and like insane. Mind
damn, man. Nice. Yet another one that's on the list. For sure.
And up next we got something intense. I don't know if it's as intense, but definitely an intense film that we both saw.
That's right. Now these are some fictional terrorists, so at least we have that relief. This one didn't happen. Thank God. It hopefully won't. But if Jason Bateman decided to be a dick, he might have a job in some nefarious activities. So we're talking about not Bird. Bluth is the scarier one. We're talking about Carry On. So this is another, I believe Netflix, excuse me. This is a Netflix film that just dropped. Funny enough, there's a little festive theme to it. This takes place on Christmas Eve.
Caught me off guard, loved it.
Right up to the holiday. Funny enough, I thought it was hilarious. There's Michael Bublé Christmas music in this film, as well as A Sudden Case of Christmas. So I double featured these. So I just thought that was fun. I wasn't expecting this one to even be Christmas at all. So that was
it just looked like a thriller,
right? So we in this flick we got Taron Egerton, not singing, don't worry, but
it's funny. That's what Val said. She's like, is he singing in this? I'm like, no, man, you watch Sing if you want that. He's a monkey who sings. An ape.
Right.
Or we can watch Rocket Man again. Either choice.
Great movie. Along with Taron Egerton and Jason Bateman, we also get Dean Norris and Theo Rossi.
Ooh, yes.
Josh Brenner and Danielle Deadweiler, who just did a great job as the FBI, or no, she wasn't FBI. That's right. She was the LAPD. This is a TSA agent who's kind of having a rough go of things, of course. And he and Sophia Carson, his fiance wife, they're having he just found out they're having a child, and he's kind of got to step it up at work. Turns out this is the same day Jason Bateman's character, who doesn't have a name through the whole movie, is he's planning something bad. This looks like a terrorist attack of some kind.
And let's not leave off the fact that this is the busiest travel day happening at LAX because it's Christmas Eve.
I mean, just bonkers. Yeah. Like, what is it? 60,000 people coming through just that day alone. This is a rough time, but Taron Egerton, or Ethan, wants to step up. He needs to, bring more into the household, and he wants to solidify his place at this job. Meanwhile, he didn't realize he's taking the place of what was supposed to be a target that they were going to, one of his coworkers. They were going to hold his family hostage and make this guy do shit for them. And now that mark is all messed up because they switched places, Taron Egerton's now the guy, and they're forcing him to start doing some stuff to make sure a bag with a device makes it through security. That's supposed to be all that goes down. But of course,
the guy in a red
everything
hat
goes
let him
wrong.
go.
Right?
And
Man,
the whole time he's wearing an earpiece in his ear, listening to Jason Bateman tell him what to do.
Right. It's an interesting setup. I was kind of like, I like that they didn't really waste much time. We got everyone set up really quick, but parallel to it, we're seeing what Thea Rossi and Jason Bateman are up to, and clearly there's other pieces in play. And I kind of like that they kind of left a couple of things open-ended at the beginning of the story, because it's like, okay, yeah, you need to egg me on. I want to be intrigued by what you got coming next.
And I like once we get the reveal of what it is, like we're seeing him, but then we're cutting to the police discovering, oh, this is what's going on. Like, it's fun. And then when there's like text on screen, there's like an interesting like hologram.
I did really like that, where they put it into the
different
world, where it wasn't much. It's not just the close up or insert shot of their POV looking at the phone screen, but it was more palatable to the audience, and that we're still taking in the emotions of the actor. They still get to perform without having to remove all of that from the screen, but we still get to get that information in a steady format. That honestly was probably one of my favorite like creative choices that they've used in the film. Like, more movies should do it in that sort of way, where it's not blatant in your face and a big obnoxious like full screen thing that pops up or whatever. But it doesn't, once we kind of set the bar, doesn't really go any higher.
It's funny that you're saying that, because halfway through, once we're like out of our first zone, so I was like, this could have been a really good movie, but then this is happening, and I'm like,
yeah,
I don't know, I'm still liking it, but yeah, it kind of loses momentum. They're trying to do too much, and
the predictability.
It could have been more of like a phone booth situation and really lived in this tight moment. But then it's like, no, he needs to be a John McClane badass, even though he's not. But
right. There's several unearned moments that I didn't really care for. I get he wanted to be a cop when he was a kid because his dad wanted to be a cop. That doesn't mean he is a cop though. And they kind of gave him too many of these abilities. There was things that, like, every time it looked like they were starting to, like, a twist was about to hit, it was like, oh, I hope it's not this. Oh shit. That's exactly what it is. Every single, like, in the car, without being too detailed, confirming in the car who was,
honestly, I didn't see that coming because I'm an idiot, but that fight scene, I love. My favorite. Cool. That was one of the best things I've seen in a car.
That's so like funny. I said the same thing to Val. Although, it's clearly there was a lot of post effects, there was a lot of special effects used, but that faux,
but it felt realistic
take, and it looked cool. It was visceral. That was probably the best fight scene in the movie. Was the one?
100%.
There was other kind of interesting things that happened, but like you're kind of fed everything to, like, the gun overheat,
over the head,
the thing, when he was eating the chips on the phone, like, just every little thing was just like
Tahiti, and
oh my God,
oh wow, you're a slacker. You don't want to be here. I'm gonna prove myself.
Right.
Oh, pregnant. Oh wow, you're pregnant. Oh hey man, check out my SoundCloud or whatever.
Oh,
it's like
the fucking rapper guy. It's like it had so much potential to be a really fun thriller to check out. And I did definitely like aspects of it. And you know what? I like Jason Bateman doing this type of shit.
Yes.
I would love to see him do more bad guy stuff. Yes.
No, it's funny. Like, it's like you go in, they sell this as a Jason Bateman, Taron Egerton movie. But for the first act, they try only showing behind his back, and he has this different bad guy voice. And then when they reveal it, it's like, oh, is this supposed to be a big reveal? We know it's Jason Bateman.
Right.
What?
We saw him in that other scene at the greenhouse.
Like, you showed him looking in. Yeah. But when they reviewed it, it's when they show him Foley and use his real voice, it's like, oh wow, it's like, fuck you, we already know this is
right.
Dumb.
I feel like there must have been a different cut of the movie where that was probably the first time we ever saw his face, and we just kind of like were hoping and then they did this edit, and they're like, maybe they'll just forget.
But I'm not gonna lie, I got more excited like when when you hear Dean Norris's voice, I'm like, who is that? I know. And there's like, well, we're gonna find out in a second. And I'm like, Dean Norris. And then when Theo Rossi came up, I'm like, Theo Rossi. And and then Josh Breener, I'm like, I had more like excitement finding these guys popping up in the movie than I love Jason Bateman, but I knew he was in the movie. I didn't know these other cats were in it.
Yeah, totally get what you mean though. Yeah, I didn't realize Theo Rossi was in this too. And then just coming off of watching Penguin, I mean the guy has a nice range. He's from I feel like the first thing I remember him being in was Sons of Anarchy, and he kills it in that one more ways than one. But he continues to carry that just energy and just this. There's a cold calculation I feel like we haven't seen before that we saw in this one. I like seeing him as a bad guy. He's it's an interesting cast of characters, but I just think it falls a little short for me personally. I'm not to say I didn't have some fun watching it, but this is by no means is this like the next Die Hard or something. Especially that setup at the end. I'm like, oh, please don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. Oh, of course you did.
It's funny. They kind of sold this movie as like Die Hard with Taron Egerton, but when you really think of it, a guy who really wants to be a cop on a busy holiday, taking down bad guys. I'm like, this is more of a serious version of Paul Blart Mall Cop. I don't know. That's how I looked at it.
It's like those refrigerator magnets with the words on them, except they're all themed Die Hard, and they just peeled off. No, let's move them over here. We're gonna make a whole new movie.
You know what really would have made it Die Hard too? With a little bit of a naked karate.
Naked karate.
That sells the movie already.
That's it right there.
Yep.
Some Dean Norris naked karate in the locker room.
Yeah. Oh man, but I'm not gonna, I think I enjoyed this more than you, but I understand exactly what you mean. Like, it caught me by surprise. I didn't watch a trailer for it, and I'm always down to watch Jason Bateman. It's funny though. I've been like driving down like towards like Gillette Stadium. There's like a big billboard for it, and I've been seeing that billboard for a while. And honestly, I didn't know he was a TSA agent. The way it looked, like his shirt, it made it look like he was like an astronaut. I'm like, oh, that's the astronaut movie. And I'm like, oh, this isn't an astronaut movie. He doesn't go to space. Fuck.
It's his space carry-on.
Yeah.
Space luggage.
And then the cheesiness of the way it ends, how he thwarts him. I'm like, fuck you.
Yeah.
This could have been better.
They play it to the lowest common denominator, and they really don't want you thinking about it too hard. And it's just like, and here we go. And there it is. Without getting too into the details, like I said, it gets predictable, but
sure.
There's still
it's a fun time watching it.
Yeah. I think it's one of those like you could watch it once and that's probably enough.
That's what I was about to say. Will I watch it again? Probably not.
Yeah,
maybe years from now, but it's not in my.
When you forget what it is. It's like, oh shit, Jason Bateman and Taron Egerton did a movie together, and you start watching.
Right.
40 minutes in, you're like, oh fuck, that's right. I didn't see that.
Although I'm like, damn, he had a lot of VO he got to do probably from.
He did. That had to be a nice day at work. Yeah.
Right.
Like, there's a nice fucking check. Jason.
And, I mean, not different from his podcast he has, Smartless.
True.
But it's just funny listening to him. I'm like, he's doing a gravitas, like this deep dark villain voice, but then once we reveal it's him, he just does Jason Bateman. And I like the fact that they did throw a lot of comedy in here. Like they had an interesting rapport.
Yeah, definitely.
You're not 100% leaving comedy behind, but
no. But that's where another Die Hard comparison comes in, because it's sprinkled throughout in there too. Like it's not the first thing you think of, but there are those moments that keep lightening it back up. But it's like, I don't know. It was all right. It was all right.
Yeah.
How many slices do you think you're giving it, man?
I'm gonna give it probably. If I have to guess. I'm trying to guess what you're going for. I think I'm going to give 0.5 more than you. I'm giving 2.5 slices.
And you hit the nail on the head, man. I'm going to give it 2 slices myself. So
nice. It's
like, as you can tell, folks, like it's not a terrible movie. It's, not the greatest thing any of this cast has ever been in, but this could be a good one to watch in a group of friends. Maybe you got a holiday party or something going on. This could be something fun to throw on. Sure. It got some action, and there's some edge to it. There's some comedy, there's a little bit of everything. A little bit of everything.
Heck yeah, there is.
And Michael Bublé again. So Christmas
But,
carols.
Oh yeah. So I mean, if you got Netflix, you can check it out for free. And at this point, who doesn't have Netflix?
Right.
I'm gonna get us back to the theater with my next review here, Dennis. I got the latest Spider-Man spinoff. Kraven the Hunter. Oh
Just
boy, Dennis.
Wanted.
This movie reportedly had a budget of $110 to $130 million. Guess how much it made at the box office this weekend?
$1 million.
I made a little more. $11 million.
11. Okay. It's 10 short. Man.
Oh boy. Now,
ouch.
Now, everyone knows these anti-hero, aka villains that they're trying to make heroes, spin-offs from Spider-Man that Sony's doing have been misses for the most part. People like Venom because they leaned into the cheesiness. People like to memeify Morbius, and people love to hate Madam Web.
Mm-hmm.
So you're probably wondering, Kraven,
where does this fall on the spectrum? Yeah.
Right?
I know a little bit about the character, but I'm not like super familiar with like this Ultimate. I'm guessing it's like Ultimates universe and shit. The other later shit I'm not familiar with. So I'm really curious what they're drawing from. How the fuck am I supposed to be cheering for this guy? I guess
it's interesting because I was listening to a podcast after with the director, and I guess him and Aaron Taylor Johnson, the book they drew most inspiration from was Kraven's Last Hunt. I don't know what that is.
That's a famous one. Yeah, that's a big deal. I've heard of it. At least.
It's interesting because we start this movie off with the bang. Essentially, we get to learn who he is. We're like, I want to say in like Russia, there's a transport bus of inmates. They're let on the side of the road to go pee. And one person's missing from the group and a guard finds him. Who is it? It's Kraven. And all right, he goes to prison. And it turns out he wanted to be in prison because there's someone he's hunting down that's in that prison.
Okay.
Yeah. So we watch a hit go down.
It's a man.
And then, like, what I like to do sometimes, I like to eat my desserts, my concessions. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna eat this, and then I'm gonna stop. I'll wait till the next scene. So the next scene came, and I'm like, oh, this is gonna be Kraven and his brother as children. We pick up on the day their mother dies, and their father pulls them out of boarding school. And instead of going to a funeral because the mother killed herself, and the father thinks, well, if you kill yourself, you're a coward. You don't deserve a funeral. But what I'm going to do for you boys is I'm going to take you to, I think it was Ghana, and we're going to go hunting. You're going to be men. And while they're there, Kraven has a chance to shoot a big, giant, legendary lion. But he kind of freezes because he's like, real men should only use their hands to fight. They don't need weapons. And then he sees the beast and they kind of have a stare down. They're looking one another in the eye. And he's like, I don't want to shoot this guy. And it's like, oh, doesn't look like he's going to attack him. And then the dad's like, I got this. And he shoots him. That causes chaos. And then the animal rips him apart, essentially drags him away, brings him. He's almost dead. There's this girl on vacation. Her grandmother happens to be like a voodoo type person and gave her a tarot card saying something bad's going to happen later, but take this little vial that has something that will help save someone's life. And she comes across this poor boy, pours it in his mouth, leaves the tarot card. Turns out that's Kraven. And as he's laying there, as that's coming in, a little bit of the blood from the lion or tiger, I think it's a lion, drops into an open wound, and then he gets the power of a lion. And
okay, holy fuck!
And then we learn he doesn't like his dad because his dad's doing some shady shit. His dad's like a bad guy. He's a businessman, and he's against it. And he's like, I'm gonna run away. And his little brother's like, don't leave me with dad. Don't do this to me. And he loves his brother, but he's like, I gotta get out of here. I can't do this. Dad had mom committed. That's why she killed herself. This isn't for me. And he runs away to this middle of nowhere that his mother's family owned, this plot of land where he then starts training and becoming a badass. And we're watching all of this for like what feels like 20, 25 minutes. And it's like, I thought I was watching Aaron Taylor Johnson here. But there's a lot of this young Kraven. But I get, okay, cool. And the girl that saved him, they say her name all the time, Calypso. And I'm like, that sounds familiar. I think she's a Spidey villain. But they say her name throughout this whole movie. And like, so essentially the movie picks up years later. He's who he is. He hunts down people who do bad things, especially to animals. He has this weird connection with animals. He's kind of like Aquaman of the land, it seems like. And he always goes home to visit his brother on his birthday. He's hanging out with his brother, and he can't sleep. He's haunted at night. And so what he does, he leaves his brother's posh apartment and goes to lay in the park. He takes his shoes off. And the next morning, he strolls in. Guess what? His brother's missing. And someone from his dad's past kidnapped him. Someone who happens to be another Spider-Man villain, the Rhino, who wants nothing more than to be a badass kingpin himself. And years ago on that trip to Ghana, he was with Kraven's family, and he offered to partner up with Kraven's dad. And Kraven's dad told him he's a no one. He'll admit to nothing, and he should be lucky that he's spending time with him. So he wants revenge. And Kraven loves his brother more than anything, and he has to hunt down and find his brother, even though his dad has the chance to save him. But he doesn't want to give $3 million to save his son's life. He thinks that's weak. And I don't know. That's the movie. It's hunting down, saving the brother. Okay. There's action. There's some really decent action here. I'm shocked.
Sounds like it. But that's funny. But none of these other Sony Spidey villain films have been short of that. Well, I guess with the exception of Madam Web, that definitely could have used more of that. But I guess my question is just why? What makes when watching this, what feels like, okay, this is why they're telling this story?
Keep the rights. I don't know. There's not really much there, but they're really trying to pack a lot in because we learn, I didn't know, apparently, because we learned the brother can mimic people's voices and this and that. We set him up, and his nickname is the Chameleon. That's where we end up in the end of the movie.
Of course.
Half brother. Yep. I didn't know that they were half brothers. I'm shocked by this, but
I don't think that was always the case.
I don't know. I looked it up. Some of it's canon, it sounds like, but I don't know at what point. But
right, because I feel like sometimes the first iteration of some of these, like the early versions of these characters, all came from different corners. But that's what I was saying is like I don't know. I know in Ultimates they do some weird stuff, and then I know Kraven's Last Hunt's supposed to be kind of a big deal, and and that has a really gnarly end from what I've read, and clearly that doesn't happen here because
I think the director was trying to. He's like, we really want to make a sequel, and it might be Kraven's Last Hunt, so you got to see this movie. It needs to make money. It's like, come on, it's not happening. But I will say the action is really good. I enjoyed the action here, and it's interesting because the way he moves is kind of reminds me of the joy of seeing Wolverine move like comic accurate.
Yes,
he's kind of doing that stuff in here. Yeah. And as goofy as it sounds, this movie feels grounded in reality, opposed to the other Sony spin-off films. The acting is pretty good. Like it has a pretty great cast. Like of course, Aaron Taylor Johnson is Kraven. Great. His dad, Russell Crowe, who is also Superman's dad, also the dad of Hercules in Thor: Love and Thunder. They set him up. Then you have Ariana DeBose as Calypso, and then a guy who's having a great year. He was in a movie that I love called Thelma, which is now available on Hulu, about an old grandma kind of on a Mission Impossible movie. But more recently, this actor was in a movie we both reviewed called Gladiator 2. Fred Henchklinger plays Dimitri, aka Chameleon, and he's fantastic. The guy that plays Rhino's pretty good. Everyone's giving pretty good performances. The story is just like, I don't care so much. It's predictable. We know where it's going for the most part.
Oh man.
But I had a good time watching it. I wasn't let down. There's some picturesque moments. I saw it in IMAX, and it kind of played well. It's a globetrotting movie. There's a lot of things in here that I'm like, well, how's this possible? Because his dad's rich, but he left at a very young age, and yet he has all the money to travel the world and do all this stuff.
Right.
He's known and feared by all these people, and it's just like, no, I don't. Come on, no.
Yeah.
But overall, I had a decent time watching Kraven the Hunter. This might be one of my favorite of these films. Of course, it definitely beats Madam Web. It beats Morbius. I might like it more than Venom because it takes itself seriously. It doesn't take itself too seriously, but it takes just the right amount of seriousness, and that makes it feel grounded. I'm going to give Kraven the Hunter 2 slices of toast.
Oh, wow. All right.
Yeah.
Dang, man. Well, yeah, I can't say I would never
worth checking out when it hits Netflix.
Yeah, it's definitely one I would still end up seeing. But yeah, I guess given the track record previously, it'd be rough. But it's that same thing of like, it's that effective. Okay, you've burned us so many times. I think so many people are also coming into it wanting to shit on it. Because it's the assumption it's going to be
exactly. Terrible. And I went in expecting to do that, and I came out pleasantly pleased.
Okay.
I will say, one person who we both know, I really enjoyed looking at. He does little like blurbs on what he thinks about movies. Max Bellamy, he wrote something interesting on his review. He wrote, "This movie feels like The Equalizer to me," and it turns out the writer of this wrote the 3 Equalizer films, so it kind of shares a kinship with that.
Okay,
so you might like it for that aspect, kind of.
Nice. All right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well. Another one on the
I don't know
queue.
why I'm trying really hard to sell you. I know it's not.
It's
I wouldn't say Rush Out. There's so many other movies
universe,
to see.
Yeah. But it's still associated with Spider-Man, so I'm always going to be curious to want to see more of that stuff. So, not going to stop me. It's not going to stop me from seeing it. So,
fair enough. Well, I think that brings us to the end of the reviews here. We had a little bit of everything, folks.
Yeah, it's a full loaf here in this episode, but I hope you folks had found a few things you want to check out. Maybe had another holiday flick or two, or just you need to break away from the holiday movies and watch something else that piqued your interest in our reviews. But actually, that's funny. I am so used to plugging the festival. I was about ready to start doing it.
Yeah.
It's going to be a long wait till the next one, folks. But don't you worry, we'll start plugging that one again soon.
Got 350 something days until that festival to promote.
So start shooting. So start shooting now.
But if you want to hear about when we're taking submissions, where we're taking submissions, perhaps you could find that information out later on over on our social media pages.
Yep, it's we're all in all the biggies, Facebook, X, Instagram, TikTok. Please come check it out. Adam's got a lot of great material. He does a lot of smaller reviews. We trim out some of the pieces of what, if you were watching along, if you're watching along in the live stream, you get some sample, nice little bite-sized morsels from here. And then, as Adam was saying, you'll be hearing from other events things we might do, whether it's me playing another Resident Evil 4 session, or we get some other special episodes coming down the pipeline. But at the very least, we'll be giving you those fantastic little morsels leading up to next year's festival. And it's just, got some fun stuff to come check out and hang out with us a little more if you need a little more toast in your life.
And like Dennis said, we're at all those places pretty much at movie_toast. You can find us by just searching. Yeah. Perhaps you like the show. You want to let us know what you think about it. Or maybe you're like, hey man, this show sucks, but you could be better. Here's what we think. Perhaps you could leave a review wherever you listen to this, perhaps Apple Podcasts, Spotify, I don't know, wherever. Let us know, because we want to learn, we want to adapt, we want to make this show as delicious as possible. I hate when people say that. As golden toasty, as buttery as possible for you guys.
That sounds delicious to me.
And everyone. Yeah. Whew. So please leave a review. Let us know how we can improve or what we're doing right.
Absolutely.
One thing that really piques my interest, we're trying to do a little bit more conversations and spend more time. are these longer episodes okay with you folks? Or is it like, oh, shorter is better? We don't care. I don't know. I personally enjoy spending more time talking and feeling more intrigued than just talking at you, not really talking with Dennis. I don't know. Let us know.
Yeah, that's all very important feedback. We'd love to hear from you. And if you don't want to go over to Apple Podcast, leave a review, at least leave us some comments, whether it's over on YouTube or any of the other social media handles that were previously mentioned, at movie_toast, under all those things under the sun. But maybe you're just not up for any of that. You've just taken in the toast. I'm good, man. Well, we have one more little thing we would ask of you, though. Just one, especially coming into the holidays. Please, folks, stay toasty.
Stay toasty.
Adam and Dennis, they're the kings of the real. Reviewing new movies, they keep it real. Coast to coast, from LA to the east. On the podcast show, they feast on the beast. Adam's bringing knowledge like he's Professor X. Dennis with cuts deeper than Wolverine's claws. I guess Marvel, DC, they know them all by heart. Breaking down the plot, tearing every scene apart. They got the juice like Tarantino's Pulp Fiction. Breaking down movies with a sharp precision. Adam coming in hot like a John Wick hit. Dennis bringing the heat like the climax of a Tarzan flick.
All right. Ooh. Have you watched any TV shows or anything interesting?
I mean, not anything that we hadn't already previously mentioned. Nothing. Just waiting for the next episode of Skeleton Crew at this point. That's kind of the one that stole my attention now that we've all caught up on Cobra Kai as much as we can. And
oh, you caught up? All right. We can talk about the Cobra Kai, huh?
Yeah.
Sorry,
I liked it. I mean, I didn't appreciate getting left in a cliffhanger. Those fucking fuckers.
Ooh,
but
what a perfect way to end that. Yeah,
I loved the use of the location, and it felt like we were somewhere else for once.
Right.
I kind of like that everyone's getting their attention back. I kind of miss some of the other little smaller characters that we normally have, but to truly just focus on honing in on the main cast and giving everyone a good amount of screen time and really building up the climax. You know what's coming. The only thing I'm a little over is Daniel's obsession with Mr. Miyagi's past. I'm kind of just don't care. Like, obviously, the guy
he deserves a dog cage.
It's like
Nobody does.
You're the man you know is the man who taught you what you know. Why can't that just be it? So other than that, I'm having a great time with it. I loved
Although, you know what kind of sucked a bit? That nightmare scene, the CG work.
Oh.
I was like, I don't want that.
It looked a little fake. Like, it looked really fake.
It's like you can use someone younger to portray said person.
Yeah, why not?
Sure.
There's nothing wrong with that.
I will say I did not like the use of no Stingray. I mean, I like that he got a shout out.
Oh, but I
needed
briefly mentioning this thing. I like how it's like, oh, people are gonna wonder what happened to him because they showed him at the end of 5 coming into 6.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it's just like, oh yeah, that guy that we have legal things going on with, but we're just, blah, 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 and then just kind of push that off. But I get it. It's about the combat. It's about the tournament. This is what you're checking in for. Some of the drama, but I like that they're playing it in the right way. It's not getting too melodramatic. It's still there some, but
I like how they call out the fact that, you know what? Yeah, we're gonna fight. Okay, whatever, cool. And the interesting, one thing that did annoy me was how they're like, we can just hop on a plane and go back to America, then we can come right back. We can pay for other people to come on over. It's like, no, that's not how the world works. But I will say, building the drama with the baby issue, I'm like, oh, that's crazy.
Yes, that was gnarly. I wasn't expecting that to be thrown in there. That kind of like wrench in the works there. But getting what's his name deciding like, fuck it, I'm just gonna go stab this guy. Like I liked him pulling the knife out and just that whole like, I was so excited for that. You know, it was going somewhere with it. I just wasn't quite expecting it to land the way it did. Oh,
right. And I loved the
land
return
way
and
it
the
did.
reveal of Terry Silver. Like, oh
Yes.
man, he's just gone full
He's
badass. And
he's a
I love
great
how they
dirtbag.
explain how he's not in jail because, like, no, this motherfucker is in jail. No way he's not here. All right, cool. This works. And then the romance that spawned out of some of these characters.
Yeah, I did like that. But I like they're a little more cheeky about it in that they didn't just force them together, but it's just the eyes and it's just slight things in conversation. And I like that it's, you know, it is especially the Romeo and Juliet aspect to, you know, not being on the same team. We can't we can't acknowledge what's going on here. But that was a fun element to be introduced to it.
It just like it was so gripping, and I feel like I'm like, oh, it's over. Fuck, they really leave you wanting more, and it's like, how are you going to end this? Like, where does it go?
Right,
come on.
Right. Well, it's about to get some pretty heavy here for this last bout, and then I did see they released a few stills.
I was going to ask if that where I was going next.
I'm curious how the fuck are we going to bridge into this? But hey, I'm here for it already. I've already decided, like, definitely going to go check out whatever the story is going to be.
It's crazy. 3 years after the events of Cobra Kai, coming out a couple of months after the show ends, it's like, where can it go? He has to be related to Miyagi, right? I don't know, not related to, but like he had to have known him or.
Oh yeah, their history that had to have crossed paths. Maybe that's what we're building to. Him digging back into his past is going to be like, no, I fucking fought this guy.
No, they shut it down, but what do you think? What do you think? Do you think Jackie shows up at the very end, like a last second or an after the credits?
I don't know. I think he can live on his own within the film. I don't see him needing to be in the series. And it's like, it's not like it's that big a budget show anyways. Oh, I don't really think it's worth investing in that. Save that money for the future. Focus on what you have in front of us right here, because I like this group of characters. I want them to all have a nice resolution.
I'm gonna miss them, man.
Yeah. It was,
and they want to do spin-offs and stuff, and it's like, I don't know where you go with spin-offs. Like, yes, I know they want to do the prequel Miyagi show. Fine, cool, but we dedicated X amount of years to these kids. I want more of these kids. I want to know where they go
back to
after college, in college.
Eagle Fang.
Well, I'm happy you checked it out, and I can't wait to
for sure
get the conclusion in a couple of months, man.
Right? Couldn't come soon enough. That's for sure.
Yeah. Well, I think we've gone way too long this episode. If you've stuck around this long, thank you. Sorry, and hopefully.
No! Don't be sorry, man. That's we've been keeping it toasty this all the way through. So I'm glad you stuck with us up to this point. So until next time, though. Of course, happy holidays. Enjoy whatever
Merry
you're celebrating.
Christmas.
Yeah.
Happy Hanukkah.
Have a great time.
Merry Kwanzaa.
That's right. Happy Festivus.
Festivus for the rest of us.
That's right. Put your poll up. I'm going to air my grievances. Yeah. Thanks for joining us, folks. Until next time.